Just in time. I was about to start us. No,
Good.
don't worry.
Went by to see Mark's wife.
And we're live.
How would they do?
We're live.
Sorry, our rifle was gonna get us started.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine with me. So good morning, everyone. Thank you. We'll pick back up with the Village of Ruidoso Strategic Planning, Day 2. Yay, I'm glad to see you're all here yesterday. Thank you for your hard work. We'll pick up in administrative, and we'll start off. Yes, sir, Ron?
Good morning, Mayor. Good morning, Council. Just want to recognize Gina and Isabel and staff for assisting with putting all the strategic planning books together, the notebooks,
Yes.
and for arranging all the meals and all the hard work. It was a lot of work that they did, so I want to recognize them also.
Yay.
Good.
So thank you.
Yay, Gina.
Good morning. We'll start off with legal, Zach Cook. Man, it's just a Freudian slip. I do that every time. Good morning, Zachary.
Morning, Zach.
Yep,
Yeah,
front and back.
we have three.
So, I think one of the biggest things that Ron wants me to work on.
Is the speaker on? Thank you.
I think one of the main things that me and Ron have talked about this year is over in community development with the turnover over there, helping Alex come up to speed with the planning and zoning rules and how they apply in individual cases, as well as the ongoing clean and lean processes. I know you guys are very interested in.
Yes, sir.
So I will be helping back there more than I have been in the last couple of years.
And Mayor,
Can you include a review of the STR? 'Cause,
Sure.
You know, after that, the fire pit.
fire pit.
thing, It sounds like we need to tighten that up.
Okay. And another issue came up last week with regard to just a non-conforming use in a residential, and can it be or can it not be used as a STR? So those things are continue to pop up all over.
Yeah.
What would that be?
There's a storage unit over,
Oh,
yeah.
so,
You're familiar.
also, Mayor and Council, we also, Zach will be the lead. We also have, working with some attorneys from the New Mexico Municipal League will also be assisting us with this too, so. So we're going to be hitting it with all different directions, so.
And thank you guys for all of the support that you give me with those outside counsel. That's a huge deal, a lot of expertise there. And then, as always, continue compliance with the sunshine laws. IPRA's kind of calmed down after the last few years. They got crazy with that. And then the Open Meetings Act, which you guys are all very good at and understand well. Thank you for always keeping up with your training, and that's very important.
I tried to act like I knew what it meant, but what does IPRA mean?
Inspection Public Records Act.
Okay,
It's the state's version of a FOIA, Freedom of Information.
okay.
Next, I put just the general day-to-day assistance with Ron and the department directors. That's just ongoing, and try and be as available as possible to Ron, to either by the phone or to come over as issues pop up, contracts, ordinances, grants, whatever. As well as to Cheryl and Judy and all the other directors. And then what I did not put on here was ongoing litigation, which I'm not real actively involved in because of the outside counsel, but I'm always there with Ron on the calls with the insurance company on settlements and litigation strategy, things like that. And yesterday I kept coming in and out because one of the attorneys on our fire litigation team on the McBride fire was here. We've got discovery due on Friday, and then they're gonna take a few more depositions, and hopefully we'll be heading towards settlement after that. And then back to clean and liens and litigation, that there will be something presented to you guys in executive session at the next meeting for potential litigation that we can't call or not, that I will handle if you guys choose to proceed with litigation.
All right, and I presume you're actively working on the issues of properties and floodways.
Yes.
And Mayor Pro Tem Salas, Council Corey, we also have attorneys through the New Mexico Municipal League that they've provided for us to working on that, and we have their, only because it could end up being in a tort or anything else, so we have them prepared, and they're helping us, and Zach's, we're all involved in that together, so.
And Mayor Pro Tem and Zach, you kind of glossed over it, but a big part of what you do also is reviewing all contracts. And it wasn't always that way. And so we would get caught on the blind side of something that wasn't said or done. And you've taken the lead on that, and it's smoothed it out tremendously. It's much appreciated.
Good, thank you.
So your experience, Zach, I remember years ago, things were a complete mess. Are you feeling like the village is doing well from a legal standpoint?
I do. From a legal standpoint, from a governance standpoint, from a management standpoint, I've never seen it run better. There was a lot of chaos when I got out of law school, went to work for Underwood.
Yeah.
And that chaos continued.
Yeah.
And I heard complaints from you and others that you just weren't getting the attention that you needed from general counsel, from general counsel.
Yeah.
So I tried to accommodate that and
Sure.
be more of
I have a question.
Go right ahead.
So, the chamber building, okay, is the chambers, and they're on our land. Has their insurance been taken care of? And that building's just sitting there?
We got, Susan, a settlement offer from our insurance company at the chamber. And the board's meeting next month to decide.
Okay.
Will most likely accept it because it came in higher than the appraised value of the building. But Ron, we met with you and the mayor and discussed the possibility of leasing property at Country Club, and I think Chuck and Deborah are gonna try to meet with you guys again, because we're gonna have to decide the next step.
And Mayor Crawford and members of the council, and that'd be that's a great location because it's walking distance within the Midtown and things like
Yeah.
that, so.
Deborah, Mayor, is getting prices on metal buildings,
Okay?
and I've urged them to try to get a building big enough to maybe have an office for the Midtown Association.
Oh, that's a
as well.
That'd be great.
point. Yeah.
That's
That's a good idea.
Talking the country club behind the the bathroom and then kind of in that corner.
Yeah.
Right there. That's cool.
And then, I don't know, I had told Deborah that I think it would be, we need to start cleaning up the debris. And to me, it would be very nice if the chamber started by getting their building demolished.
Well, and that was where I was going with
Okay.
it, is I just thought maybe if they took lead
Took the lead.
and demolish that building, if they decide to, that maybe we could start getting that cleaned up, because that area right there is, I get the most complaints about.
Yeah,
And people don't understand, that's not our land, it's somebody's land, they're waiting, but that.
well, no, the chamber is ours.
Yes, I know it is. And that's why I brought up the chamber.
Yeah,
But I just thought maybe that would kind of,
get the ball rolling.
yeah.
So, Ron, what would happen to that land after that building's removed?
Zero.
Yeah, just
Permanent green,
green space.
maybe some
Back to
benches
the
and,
Yeah.
park.
Okay. And then as far as the demolition, is that on
Yep.
the chambers back? So
Unless
they
we're
have-
able to take,
DH.
part of the buyout program, which I don't think it'll affect property, a building, it's only for property. The other part would be on the debris removal and demo on the insurance policy. If not, then what they're wanting us to do is institute a condemnation and a lien situation.
Yeah.
That we would then put a lien on our own property? I mean, I don't
we
know how
would-
that works.
We would just do, but we'd work with,
Chamber.
and then also with DHSCM and try to get some direction on that.
Okay, so, I mean, you'll consider the country club?
Oh, absolutely. I think when she spoke to me about it, I thought, that's perfect. You're right in Midtown, and then with RMA having a spot in there, that's the best place to be.
That'd be perfect, yeah.
And we just need to look at setting it back
Okay.
on that property.
I'll talk to.
But that's up to y'all. I mean, I'm all for, that would be great. But we do need to figure out if you're gonna keep she didn't think that you were gonna be able to go back in there.
No, we can't.
So, we need to and what we need is some sort of an estimate from a certified appraiser that says it's over 51%.
I think
Damage.
they've got that.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Mayor, that's all I have.
Good job, Zach. Best presentation this whole time.
That's the fastest, too.
But I do want to start including, like on capital projects, that no-gal property, did you touch on that when I took the phone call just in? Okay. Okay.
We'll have some updates in the executive session on it, so.
Yeah, because Mayor, I would really like to see us, and we've talked with Alex about it, is every month have some kind of report that,
Well, I've asked him to start doing it. Maybe I didn't ask him yesterday, but giving us an update when we were having the capital projects update. Throw that in there during your section on the ones that were taking action or expecting results to keep us informed on that. I know that with Mike leaving, it kind of got lost, but that has just been a hard, long one.
And Mr. Mayor, if I may, and it within that, not ongoing or we're working on it, the next gate or the next timeline is this date. If this doesn't happen, then we're gonna do this.
exactly.
That would be a better gauge for everybody as far as not only those people, if they hear that and say, oh, I've got till Friday the 29th to do whatever, that's what I gotta do. Because if not, then they're gonna do this.
We'll have,
Thunderbird Curios, for example.
Exactly.
That's another one that was brought up yesterday. That we're wanting, where are we at? What are we doing? I told them that we had done the stuff and it was now going to the courts.
It is
Correct.
in municipal court now, and I've talked to the attorney. The owner of the building is an older man who had some health issues at the end of the year. So I had a productive conversation with his lawyer, and we both believe that we can figure it out. He claims that his client understands the situation and intends to remedy it.
Okay, we just have a history with that gentleman.
Mr. Cook?
That it's,
Do you think-
we have to keep pushing until we,
Correct.
Do you think he's going to try to rebuild it, or they don't know yet,
Um,
or just sell it?
Sell it or demo it.
That's what I hope, although it's been here for a long time.
I don't know if it's salvageable.
did it burn that bad? I didn't think it was. When I went in there, it was just an electrical fire from like a space heater.
I think
And
it
just the back
melted.
part.
Yeah, and it was just smoke is what they told, I didn't get in there and kick around, but I didn't think anything structural,
I'll call his attorney today and,
yeah,
okay.
those kind of things. And then, did y'all talk, and I'm sorry I had to step out on a planning and zoning issue, about being at the meetings to be able to
Yes.
back Alex up on
Yes.
some of these legal terms and things. Okay.
And I was also explaining, Mayor, we have, with our other attorneys, outside attorneys through the New Mexico Self-Insurance Fund, they'll be assisting also,
Excellent.
so.
Thank you.
Thank you guys
Thanks a
very much.
lot.
That was short and sweet. You know why? He wasn't billing us. If that was being billed by the hour, we'd still be here. Next is Clerk Yvonne Vigil. I'm looking at you.
You got clerk. We got clerk.
Oh, she's all by her lonesome.
I know it.
Are you taking applications for the deputy? Okay,
There's just so much going on right now, it's hard
of
to.
course.
Okay, good morning, Mayor and Council. So most of mine are left over from Ginny's from last year. So the first goal is we need a place to put all of our documents. We were supposed to get a room at the Horton
Oh,
complex.
I know that one, museum.
Yeah, the
You took
museum
her
was supposed to
spot.
get one too, but.
So just, Mayor and Council, just to follow up on that, we were looking for seeking for a location to build a metal building, of course, and have it wrapped, whatever we need to do to follow code. But right now, next to the magistrate court building at the Horton property there,
Okay.
we're looking at building, Judy and I have been talking, building a metal building there, but we need inside is have each a separate room for each department that has records, for record storage and for the museum. So that's our plan, is to do that. So we want to be able to have that building. We couldn't find anything close, we like to have it here nearby the village hall, but there's not any property that would work, so that's the
Would it
plan.
Just be down there close to the school
To the,
offices,
Boys and Girls
off of Horton there,
on the board, by the Boys and
where
Girls.
the old garage was at, there at the.
Oh,
Yeah.
that old shop, building it there, have a fence around it for security. And I envision having, of course, you could drive in, they could unload and whatever also on that, so have separate. So that's our plan, is to get something built, so.
That would be nice.
The clerk in Alamogordo, in her warehouse, she has a computer set up and she has it cataloged and
Yes.
indexed, and she can find any box wherever any record is, so I would love to get there eventually.
Good
How
job.
big
Gave us
of
a
a building
presentation at a
are we
conference
don't know,
with pictures, and I was like,
We were talking, because we want to be able to have finance in there, we'll have the clerks, of course, P and Z. We just need to get a lot of all that emptied out over at the
The purchasing
old purchasing
warehouse.
building and have separate, and PD would be also in there, records for PD to.
There's my museum.
well, that we could probably destroy too.
I say kick the
as we're
museum
going.
out of the Horton complex.
What else is the
Put it at their
purchasing
backyard.
building being used for?
it's going to be the fire station.
Oh,
Isn't it?
that is, I
No.
thought it
No,
was the
next.
building next.
What's
No,
not-
it's-
What's the purchasing building?
That
It's a-
one there, Parks and Rec is using it for additional.
Storage?
There's storage there, and then we want to also have, like, for janitorial, have a area to store additional janitorial items too.
So the fire station is that
In the back.
building in between?
Yes, the metal
rack
building
and
used to be the old water shop next to
That's
the.
right behind
Straight ahead,
the
you
rack.
just see the big door.
Okay, are they gonna tear that down
No.
No.
completely, or they're
No.
remodeling?
Remodeling.
Okay.
Yep. So that's our plan anyway. So Judy and I have been having that discussion, trying to get that going, and we're gonna need to get a plan in place to do that, so that's.
Thanks, Ron.
Are your records still over there at
At the purchasing
the
warehouse.
purchasing warehouse?
There's some upstairs, and there's some they're just everywhere, and they need to be all in one spot, and we need to know what we have, and
Are there some that you could even shred?
yes, there's probably a lot in there I can destroy if I could get in there and get through them all.
Yeah.
And after the election, Gina and Isabel are gonna help me do that. We're gonna do a big document management thing. Okay, so then my next one is document management again. So when Ginny went to Vegas last year for the laserfish training, she figured out, and I guess nobody ever knew this, that our system is only a storage system, it's not document management. So we're very limited on what we could do with it. So we need a better way for people to be able to look up all of their documents, see where they're at, and so that's one thing that we need to work on is Laserfish does have a document management system. I haven't seen it. I know Jenny did. I'm gonna set up some meetings with them so I can see how their software works, or we can go with someone else. It's just kind of brand new to me right now. After the election, I will dig into that more.
Just, Mayor and Council, just to provide you some additional on that Laserfish that we have now is, if you get in there in that database to look up a document, whoever put it in there, you're gonna go through a lot. It's gonna take you some hours to go through there.
I hated
There's times at
Laserfish.
night I'm going and looking for different contracts or whatever, and it's,
And the only
finally
way
can
to
find
search is
it.
with keywords.
Yes.
And so if somebody didn't index it, then you're never gonna find it.
Well, and if different people have different keywords.
Oh, yes.
There's
So,
no
I
consistency to
hated it.
anything, so
It'd
that,
be-
the whole thing needs to be redone. Okay. Number 3, update and maintain vehicle inventory list. I've been working on this, but there's still some stuff that needs to be done. We need to get stickers, identification stickers on the newer vehicles. So, Safety Dave is supposed to help me and go out to the department, see what they actually have compared to my list, and see who has identification numbers, so that we can get those ordered and make sure that we have the correct vehicles on the insurance and that we're removing anything that we no longer have.
That's a
one of
big
mine.
job.
If I may just also, she's helped me a lot on that. I do all the risk management for the village when it comes to the torts and the claims. And so having her be able to get into the database and input all the vehicles, do our audit to make sure, we only have the vehicles that we actually have ownership of, and hasn't been a vehicle driving around town with us on insurance and all the properties. So she's been a great help doing that, helping me with that, so.
Do we have an asset replacement plan where, we've heard yesterday multiple vehicles that need to be replaced? Do we have a plan?
Mayor
that
Crawford,
stretches
Councilor
it?
Corey, we have an asset management plan for some of the departments, but we're working on this new asset management plan where we need to have everything on there with all the vehicles, like for executive and things like that. No, we don't have it like per executive, it's more for the utility departments.
Okay.
Because we're required to have that with the Water Trust Board grants and Colonias grants. You have to have an updated asset management plan, but we need to do with this new work order, the new work order system we have, you can have the vehicles on there listed, like for Village Hall, when you need to get the oil changed and things like that. Usually we wait and, we try to be we make sure, and Gina gets us, all the vehicles maintained and all that, so, but we do need to work on that, so.
But we don't go around and put numbers on every desk for asset management, right? Yeah.
We did at one time.
We do have a fix
The
that,
computers are marked, it's certain things, but not the.
and for the audit, Judy and her staff, they have to have the fixed asset plan submitted with the audit also. That's for different things too. So that's kept through our Tyler software, so.
Okay, and number 4, and I do have a master list of board and commission appointments, but I need to work with the liaisons better at reading their rules and seeing how long people are supposed to be on a board. And also, we don't get enough applications to fill positions, even if they weren't on there, but so that we have a list of when they should come off, when somebody new should be appointed, and we need to do better training with the liaisons on Open Meetings Act, so.
So our boards have limits?
Yes. Not all of them. Not all of them, but some do. But, I mean, we don't have anybody to replace them most of the time, so they just
So like
stay.
P and Z and all those have,
Yes.
Some of them do, some of them don't. And a lot of it is we don't know when their term limit is.
So that's what I want to figure out, when
Okay.
they got appointed, how long their term should have been, and see what we have to do about that, and make sure that the liaisons have better training on the Open Meetings Act, so we're not caught.
And that's a good also with Zach here to assist with that, so.
So KRB doesn't have a time limit, but Parks and Rec does.
Yeah.
And how I cheated you out of serving so long, and Stoddard didn't even know. I just tell the clerk, Tammy, oh yeah, they said they'll do it.
Yeah,
And then they'll just
I
appoint.
mean, I was on KRB for 15 years.
Every board
that's-
is
that-
different.
And now you're
Every
telling
board
me
has
there's-
their own set of rules and
Does
code.
Wingfield Museum have,
I'll look for it. I'll go grab my book in a minute.
I don't
It's
believe
okay.
so. And Lodgers Tax didn't have one either.
Right, yeah.
No,
That
Lodgers
was
Tax
the
has
other one.
different rules.
I was on there for a long
Okay.
time.
okay, no big.
Okay, and then my fifth item is just training. Whenever I get a new person in here, they're gonna need a lot of training, so just training for me and training for my deputy clerk whenever I get one, just to get us to where we need to be.
Did we put it in-house, the job?
Mayor Crawford, Counselor Lutterman, we put it internal and external, so
Yeah,
it's been
we
out there.
haven't
Been
had
out there for about 2 weeks.
We haven't had any internal applications, so.
Yep.
Yeah, they don't want to deal with it.
Yes, sir.
Yvonne, are you at the highest level you can be?
No, I still have another certification. Right now, I'm a certified municipal clerk, and then there's master municipal clerk. So that should take me about another 2 years if I can make all the trainings, depending on what's going on around here, we'll see how that goes. But there's still one more I can get.
Obviously.
Well, we sure do appreciate.
How many more
everything.
years do you have to retire?
Oh,
A
man.
lot.
Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure.
Make her sign a
How
contract
many years have
too.
I been here? 7 years, so I have 23 more
Okay.
years.
Make her sign a contract, see?
Well, we'll get that contract on the next meeting.
Going to get our money out of
I'm not going
Yvonne.
anywhere.
Thank you for all you do.
Questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I take
Okay.
that back. Yvonne's was the best presentation in amount of time. You got bumped off, Zach.
Okay. Mama Cheryl is up next.
Hey.
Mayor and council. So first off, for my organizational chart, I have fully staffed in the department. Johanna Quintana is the Human Resources Generalist. Taylor Schralick is the HR Specialist, and then Dave Harper's the Safety Coordinator. And jumping right into my tactical plan. So the first goal is to analyze the compensation study results and develop recommendations for you all. So on number one, the village will have to decide and see what we can be able to sustain, but decide if we want to hit the 25th percentile, which is lagging the market, the 50th percentile, which is meeting the market, or 75th percentile, which is exceeding, which I'm going to say we're not going to get there ever. But looking at the different, and that's how the company benchmark the roles, is they have all the roles that are under the 25th, under the 50th, and so on.
Cheryl, what is, the criteria? Is it population of the municipality, number of employees?
So it's going to be primarily just benchmarking the roles, the duties and responsibilities of each role.
No, I understand, but, I mean, what are we being compared with?
So they did they do a comparison of New Mexico
Okay.
entities and throughout the US.
Okay.
So I think it's like 30,000
Okay,
job
but
roles.
they don't necessarily differentiate between urban and rural or by population?
It's possible that that's a factor in there,
Okay.
Counselor Corey.
Okay.
And Mayor Crawford, Counselor Corey, that's a good question. We can talk to the consultant on that just to get a detailed exactly. I know you and Mike were working on that, so
Yeah.
just to have that, so we have that, so.
You know, for example, in banking, we'd get a study, but it would include Dallas and Houston. Well, clearly, we're not going to
Oh,
pay wages comparable.
Absolutely. And we hope to have should have been other municipalities or counties within the state also to know exactly what's.
But you almost have to have, like, we are a tourist town, so, our size, we're going to be a lot more expensive to live than an Alamogordo.
Sure.
Absolutely.
And they did look at the cost of living, which is the second item on there. And so Rio Doso's cost of living is about 8.6% higher than the US average. So the cost of living index is 100 in Rio Doso, then it's 91.4% nationally, if that makes sense. And then on the flip side of that, cost of labor, where a job may pay 100,000 somewhere else in another city, the average here would be 94,500, so.
Well, we were talking yesterday, what department? Was it the water department? And, you know, okay, with all their benefits, $73,000, but their take-home pay is $17 an hour.
That's their starting pay.
That's their starting pay.
Yeah, then
Try to
they tax.
live on that. Yikes. I mean, yeah.
Well, I mean, you did when you were at the bank. I mean,
I
people
had
did.
somebody that was helping me. If I would
Absolutely.
that would have been rough.
Absolutely, but when you take starting people and we're trying to pay everybody as most that we can possibly pay, we've proven that over and over, but still, the only way we generate money is you're gonna have to raise water rates, the enterprise funds, you're gonna have to somehow create more business, and that's some of the things that we've done. Like we proved and talked about the other night, we've taken our GRT from 2017 to 2025 and doubled it. We've tripled and almost quadrupled our grants that we've received, that we do projects with. Those are not, you can't put those onto payroll. They're specific to projects. So, you know, I'm all ears on how we can figure out how to pay it. I honestly am. But when we're paying over 70% of our budget is for an employee pay, employee benefits, and all of that, it's very difficult. What we're gonna have to do is pay more per hour, less insurance, less.
Well, and
whatever.
that's why our employees end up leaving a lot of times, because they say, you know what, right now, I don't care, I've got to have the money right now, so they go somewhere where, without the benefits. So,
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, we all know the benefits are.
The biggest distinction, though, I think, about public employment is para. I mean, that's an unbelievable benefit.
Unbelievable.
You know, to be able to retire at 30. at
48, like our wastewater treatment plant, he's getting ready to retire.
Well, Adam's
Not even
45.
50, yeah.
Yeah.
So how does that work, Cheryl? Or do we give more para credit than we're required to?
We do. We pick up a few, I think 3 to 4 percentage points of the employees'
Right.
contribution. And all entities do a little bit different, but that's, Judy and I had a conversation about, that may be something to look at, to present to you all also, is possibly, you know, to put more dollars in their pocket, in the employee's pocket, to possibly pick up a few more percentage points there, lowering their contribution amount. But we want to be able to bring to you all 5 or 6 options. And Judy's got all of my numbers from Open Comp to look at the additional para and FICA. But we want to be able to say, okay, this is what it's going to cost to get these approximately 90 employees to the 25th percentile, and these, and/or these approximately 150 employees to the 50th percentile, versus here's what it would cost to do a 3% COLA, versus here's what it would cost to pick up an additional 2, 4, 6% of their para.
Yeah.
So
And then look at the
that,
big picture.
that para allowance, does that have to be applied across the board, or can it be job
Yes.
specific?
Across the board, other than fire and police or higher percentages, yes.
Okay, because just thinking out loud, an entry-level person, their biggest concern's their take-home pay. But, an experienced person, You know, they're thinking more retirement, but you can't differentiate.
No, they cannot. They can always do a 457 plan, more into it, have a secondary retirement plan. We have two of those options,
So
but that would be for the
do our
employee.
employees also pay Social Security?
Yes.
Yep.
So tell me one more time, why, so you have these young people that are able to retire when they're 44, 45 years old. Why is it that they want to retire because
Because the para forces them.
I don't, okay.
We've been fighting that for
I
years
don't
with the
understand.
return to
I know
work
we have, but
policies.
I don't understand, why is that? Because they don't.
State
want-
legislators put it that way. They figure that keep the employees from double dipping, and some of them were triple dipping. You know, retire from the state police when you're real young, go to the city, do a retirement, and then you have a third retirement, and getting them all at one time. It was just killing para. Para was unfunded. They weren't putting enough in. So y'all remember a few years ago,
Yes.
the state bumped it back
Yeah.
on the municipalities.
Yeah.
And so we were having to pay for state employees para, which is not fair. So the simple deal is cut benefits, raise insurance premium, raise insurance deductibles. All of that stuff is the only way you're going to be able to do it. And we've looked at this 9 ways from Sundays, and so it comes down to the same thing. Keep what we got on para. Quit putting in as much as we do for para. We back that off. Raise the deductibles on the health insurance, and we've looked at that every year when we go out. And we always sit on that panel and argue, you know, that we want to keep it as affordable for the employee as possible. And then you can't get employees. And then, so you have to make that decision on, will it attract employees? I can tell you, in the private market, $17 an hour. I don't get too many good ones at 17 an hour. I'm paying 20, 25, but they're trained. They know the craft. We hire people that's starting at 17 that we teach them the craft.
Yeah.
And, you know, we ask them not to get into cannabis and stay clean. That, they feel like should be a paid bonus. And that's why we're having trouble getting some of the people. And the state has created a lot of our own problems by allowing those things.
Yeah.
And then we can't get them insured because then we're responsible. If somebody backs into somebody and then they are, and it's hard to find out, did they do it yesterday, last night? We don't know, but it shows up on a blood test, then guess who's liable? The village is. And y'all have all sat in those closed meetings where we had nothing to do with anything, but the trail was on village property and he fell down and broke his leg. And we're at fault. And so our job is to protect the overall organization so it maintains its strength. But that's why I'm going to give a sales pitch right now for the Green Fuels Farm, that this could create mailbox money on the outside sales. Then in a few years, we're able to maybe have offset general fund to help add money so that it's not that tipping point of no return, that when you go over 70, I don't see, Judy, 75%, is it? That they teach us at the municipal league, once you go over that point,
so.
you pretty much aren't sustainable. And if you have a dip in your revenue, then you're going to be having layoffs, which we haven't done. You're going to be looking at attrition. You're going to look at cutting back on all the budgets and not buying new trucks and investing in infrastructure. And that's how I got on this board. That's where we were at.
Yeah.
We cut back on everything, and we haven't been there for a while. So I would love to pay the most that possibly we could, because I think we've got the best employees. I've said it 100 times, that they're awesome. I see them work hard all the time, but how do we do it and sustain it? I don't know.
Mayor and council, one thing I think we could look at and need to look at is controlling the overtime cost.
Well,
And
how
we
you gonna
know-
do it? You gotta hire employees.
We know that we have to have overtime, the job has to get done, level of service commitment's already been committed. But in looking at that, reducing overtime costs, potentially being able to hire a couple more bodies rather than paying out.
We've been
all the
trying to do
overtime
that
costs.
since I've been on this council.
And,
We have
and/or.
FTEs fully funded.
And/or bumping those rates to where we can, so we can retain employees, you know. You all see every month how many new employees we have come in the door,
Yep.
and we want to hold on to all of them. We have about 24% turnover rate.
Wow, it is high.
But that also includes retirements, let me
Oh,
throw
yeah.
that out there, so,
There's nothing any worse, though, than the swinging door.
yeah, yeah.
And,
yeah.
you know, we train, and not necessarily money-wise, but just our time and effort and debt, and then somebody else grabs them, like State National used to do me all the time.
In mayor and council and in mayor being on the executive board, this is happening statewide.
Oh, it's everywhere.
I mean, they can't find all these water operators and sewer operators are all retired and they can't find level 3s and 4s. I mean, they're having to go with contracts with engineering firms that the cost on that is, I mean, it's hard to even be able to sustain that, so. it's
And see,
statewide.
what the difference is we had this discussion yesterday. Why are we hiring all the contractors? You said you didn't want our contracts, we want to hire our own people. Well, it's a catch-22 where we're at. And the difference is, we get a grant for that project. We hire you as the contractor, you come to me and say, "Psst, I'll pay you, $5, $10 more an hour." And then boom, I jump over to you and knowing that I'm gonna give 2 weeks' notice. And some of these people are really not very smart because they don't give us the 2 weeks' notice and they got a permanent no hire back on there. Whereas they could go to work for you and then whenever that job's out, then they come back and say, I really want to go. We don't want that either.
No.
We get used like that for a lot.
Back on the biofuel, would those revenues go to the general fund?
We can right now. Now, if we go in and do a LIDA and a TID, a taxing incremental district out there, because there's no GRT, and we get that through the state, we get the lion's share of the GRT. Like right now, we got nearly almost 4%, 3 point whatever percent of the 8.175. But we could eventually get like 6%. That of the revenue generated off of the sales of that. And so first year revenues is figured at 52 million, expected to grow over to 100 million. So that's a lot of money that we could then plow back in. Right now, they're telling us it has to be on that property that's the airport. So to help develop that area out there, what we are trying to do is see how do we offset some of the expenses on our enterprise funds? Like, wouldn't it be cool that when we do the rate study, instead of raising the money, we pull that funding to help support the enterprise funds instead of raising the rates to the individuals that you hear from every day, or to help fund payroll? Help put it in there because it will be pretty stable. These contracts are 10 years forward leaning, and they're commodities, but it's going to have a base rate from the lease that we're going to have on it, land lease, the GRT, and then the percentage that we get on the back end of all the sales. And so that's going to grow, and then with the projects that we're going to be working with the county and the tribe, they get a revenue share and of the stuff that they bring in, and we get a small percentage of it too. So to build that mailbox money, that recurring revenue, that we're not having to pay anybody labor, provide insurance, or any of those other things to, that would just be regular revenue that we can then, I think, in the future, and that's what we've got to figure out, how do we get it into general fund where then we have the discretion to put it into employee pay raises, employee bonuses.
Right.
And that's something else we've tried to explore. You're with us for 8 months, a year. We had the longevity bonuses. And then that kind of got out of hand. And so how do we do it where it's sustainable? And we have worked, you've been on the committees. We've done it every year for the last, I don't know how many years, with every department, one right after the other. How do we maximize pay and still maintain what's the word? Sustainability. And that's what we're charged with, is that overall. And the only way that we've been able to figure out how to do it is you're going to have to lessen benefits, because we pay cash for those, is to raise the deductible so our insurance premiums are smaller. Just look at your pay stubs and see how much the village pays on that.
Yeah.
It's an enormous amount of money. We've got the best insurance you can buy.
Yes, we do.
And you go talk to other communities and they don't have these things. They go from a PPO to an HMO. Big difference when you got cancer and you want to go to MD Anderson. Okay? And so we provide that. We're looking at for employees. Some of our employees do not care about that. So we went to a deal. You pick it. I thought we changed that.
Yeah.
You'd rather have that, you pick that process. And not enough of them are going over to that?
I think we have about, I'm gonna say 40-ish,
Okay.
maybe.
So we work to split that.
A lot of the younger workforce chooses to take that.
And I don't
plan.
blame them.
And then some of us that chose to take that plan decided this last year that it probably wasn't a good idea because we're getting older and we probably need a $500 deductible versus a $3,000 deductible.
Yeah.
Well, and
So-
that's exactly it. We're trying to tailor it to the employee, and the system's not built that way. I agree with the president, the system's broke, and it needs to be fixed. I get that. And so we have to navigate the best we can, and this Blue Cross Blue Shield has been the best
Yeah, it is.
price-wise, coverage-wise, for the last 4 or 5 years.
Yes, it is.
And competitive and only going up small percentages, but it's still cheap. So that's the only other way I know how to do it, cut our participation in para. And nobody wants to do that. I want to see when our employees retire, that they get to live their life and they don't have to worry about the day-to-day bills, that they can live in retirement world.
Right.
Because I see a lot of people that can't. And so that's something that we try to look out for, but, is that really our job? Is our job to maximize the continuity and the furtherance of the village and try to make it as strong as possible? And like in a lot of businesses, you squeeze the employees as tight as you can. No, that's the choice that we all made we don't want to do. And so if we could figure it out, we've hired experts to help us come up with it, and they all tell us, you guys are great. But it's still not working. But this problem that we're having, all over the state, everywhere.
Mayor and council, another piece of this would be the recommendation to eliminate the 1% pay for performance, which would put that back and then possibly help with, if we decided to do a COLA, if you all decided to do a COLA, we'd eliminate that July 1. We would have to make the decision to do that before annual evals come out, so we
So-
can change policy.
Cheryl, one of the challenges, and you ran into this when, 6 months ago, you were proposing we alter the pay system, and I forget the exact mechanism, but essentially changing it back to the way it was. I'm curious why we do something and then later we're wanting to undo it. So the pay for performance, do you know why that was originally instituted?
Mayor, Counselor Corey, so we went to pay for performance 5 years ago. We did away with COLAs in the personnel policy and we implemented pay for performance.
Okay.
But when we originally had it, we had it at 4% for line staff, 3% for managers and supervisors, and 1%, for directors. So we had a staggered approach. And then because we knew we needed to adjust wages in 2023 to be more competitive, so we did an internal adjustment and we bumped that pay for performance back to 1% for everybody across the board. But it's become kind of a struggle to, every department's different, every employee is different, and the training and certifications they need. And sometimes it's difficult to assign goals that are equitable to the different employees. It may take 8 hours for someone to complete a course and get their 1%. It may take 4 months for someone else to complete their certification and get a 1%. So there's a lot of that going on. And we try to be make it as fair as we can, but it's very difficult.
So the pay for performance concept, the increase is based upon whether or not you're achieving your goal.
Assigned goal, yes, sir, that we assign in July during our annual
Yeah,
evaluations.
I mean, in the private sector, that's the way we've always done compensation, but your bottom line is you're just trying to get that base rate up
Yes.
to remain competitive, and you're trying to utilize any tool you can to get there.
Yes.
But a lot of the turnover, when you talk to the managers and directors, they'll tell you after they're there a week, they quit depending on that person, he's not gonna be around and he's gone. You know, it's the quality too. There's just, the field's not deep, it's not wide.
Yeah.
And that's just the fact of where we're at today.
Yeah.
And then we tried the pay performance, and then a lot of our guys that were working all these overtime hours that is costing us a fortune, can't get time off to go do the training.
Yeah.
You know, and so they're just trying to sleep and eat and have a life. And then, just like we heard yesterday, they work 24 hours a day, and then they're gonna be sent home on Friday
But they want
to get rest, but then they're not gonna get really paid for that overtime.
So all that hard work, I mean, in their mind, all that hard work is only going to be regular pay, no overtime.
because they don't meet the 40.
That's right.
So Cheryl, when you talk about eliminating pay for performance, would
Judy,
that go?
hang on a
to
minute.
COLA?
Mayor, I just wanted to
Possible.
comment on the situation that Marty brought up with his guys. I mean, you could make a policy change that if you wanted to pay the overtime on those hours, you could. You would just have to create a policy that said that vacation hours included as hours worked in the overtime calculation, and then they could be paid at overtime.
That's what we should.
Per FLSA, you have to pay time and a half to hours over 40, but you can always pay more than that, which would happen in that situation if you consider the vacation worked as hours worked, and the calculation would calculate all those hours over 40, including including the vacation over 40, and then they would get paid the overtime. You can always pay more than FLSA requires you to, you just can't pay less.
So Judy, do you kind of know off the top of your head what the impact would be going to a over 8 or over 40 pay?
Not off of my head, because we did that in Gallup, and it was pretty much stable year after year, but we didn't have the type of water leaks and disasters that you have in Ruidoso. So we would have to go and look at it overall. And the fact that some of the departments have so many vacancies, it might just come out to a wash, meaning that the amount of overtime that you end up paying is equal to the amount of vacancies that you have in the department, so it would be a wash. The good thing about overtime is that it's not used in the calculation of para, so you don't pay para on overtime.
No.
Okay, well, that may be something to look at, you know.
I think
over
it
any
is.
place I ever worked by the hour, which has been 40 years ago, that I ever worked by the hour was always over 8 or over 40.
It was always what?
Over 8 or over 40.
Well, that's why I asked yesterday. I thought we had had a discussion about paying over 8.
No, it's over 40.
Over 40 in the week.
Did you get to finish your question, Greg?
Yes. So essentially, the pay for performance would revert back to COLA.
Yeah, Mayor and Council, I think that's an option that we could look at.
And the other option that was brought up this last time, the big shift and change, was there's a couple of individuals that just wanted more time off. And so they were pushing to, instead of having 2 weeks, they were wanting to go to 3 weeks off. And that was their big push. And so that was what was really wanting to go back and do those things. And y'all sat through that, and we just made one change, then we came back and wanted to change. And I think y'all were a little callous to the proposition because you'd just been listening to it and hearing it, and you just worked for weeks to try to come to a point.
Right.
And then one or two individuals came in and said, I don't want that, I want employees. And then basically said, we want the 3 weeks off, and y'all said, we're not doing that. So at some point, you have to have a policy, they either hire to it or they don't. We have to increase a lot of different things, housing's a big one. And that's been some of the situations that when I've talked to people, why did you quit us? I just met you 2 weeks ago and you're now, who are you working for now?
Yeah.
I didn't even know you quit. And I signed all the paras too. And it's like, well, I got tired of driving all the way from, and so, and he's at Ace Hardware and they just had a job up here this day, but he lives in Alamogordo now.
Cheryl, do we have a cafeteria plan?
Mayor and
Yes,
council,
we
yes,
do.
we do.
So is vacation time one of the options, or?
No, that would just be for before and after tax on insurance. Vacation's not an option. It's a set amount.
And Mayor and Council, as the mayor stated, that was on the council a few years ago, when we did our personnel policy, that's where the vacation was changed. So anybody hired after that date came in at a different rate on the accrual basis on the vacation time, so.
And all the time, we're calling the municipal league and different ones to put out surveys.
Yeah.
And all the other communities that are bigger than we are, smaller than we are, similar as we are, send in their pay rates, what they're paying, and we're always right there on those. And then you'll get somebody like Alamogordo. When I called that mayor at the time, she's not mayor anymore, I said, my gosh, she just gave everybody a 30% raise. She goes, we don't know how we're gonna pay for it, but we had to do something. And so then they figured it out later, and we've never taken that approach. So,
No, that's-
but if I'm not elected mayor, one of the things I am going to propose is that we're going to give a huge raise across the board. And y'all can figure it out, free water raise for the next 90 days, and y'all can figure it out.
So are we gonna have a special meeting right before?
Right before, yeah. And I'm going to bring in everybody I can, and we're going to chant and scream until you do it. But
Don't say that, you're gonna make people vote
They'll say, oh, okay, work for that.
to get their raise.
Going
I'll
back,
support you in everything.
okay, because you're not going to be here either.
And I won't be there for the volley of fire that follows.
Yeah.
and real quick, Mayor and council, going back on the vacation discussion, is we do have employees that need days off. We talked about that we've seen more unpaid leave requests being taken because they need that day, they have to have that day, whatever it may be. But over a long period of time, the more and more they do take unpaid leave, it does affect their para. You know, they may get down the line to retire and they may be short, where they thought they weren't, so, but
Do we let employees borrow?
we do have a sick leave bank. They can apply to it, borrow it, and then pay it back per pay
Okay.
period. We implemented that during COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we doing our own payroll, or is that outsourced?
Judy,
do it.
Finance does it. Okay. So
You're not gonna get a good vote on your stuff, I'm just saying. Rifle's gonna tell you, hey.
Yeah.
Keep going,
All
keep
right.
going.
Goal 2. Goal number 2 is a carryover from last year, just to do an organizational assessment of how our departments are structured, and essentially to make it short and simple. Looking at those departments that don't have the middle line staff, middle management staff, and essentially those stepping stone positions for employees to be able to develop and move into. For example, in my department, if Johanna strives to be the HR manager, one day, that's great, and she's being mentored and she's developing her skills, but she also knows that I can retire in 11 years, but she has to wait 11 years before she can do anything, or she may have to go out and look for a promotion in another department. and that'll never happen, if you're listening, Johanna. But having a middle management type position in there, supervisor, coordinator, specialist, whatever you want to call it, would give her that opportunity to start taking on some extra responsibilities and making decisions. Doesn't mean we have to create positions. It may just mean taking a maintenance tech and creating a foreman, and then we can better manage the span of control as well in some of those departments, so.
It's very important to train and, not to be afraid for your job, but to, train other people so that they can help you out. If I'm sick
Absolutely.
for a day, here you go. That's just so important.
Absolutely, so that everything doesn't just fall when you're gone on vacation for a week.
And
so.
it helps morale. They get to learn different things and feel good about themselves.
Absolutely. Any questions on that one? Okay. Number 3 is workforce planning and succession. So building a training program for the 2026 calendar year. We have a lot of online training available to us that the league provides, and then that we have through NeoGov. But we also, the HR department also has about 200 courses available, and we have the PowerPoints, the handouts, the quizzes, the certificates, a lot of soft skills that we can go in and teach. We just need to take the time and make the commitment to get staff, even if we do small groups of 5 or 10, because I know how hard it is for employees to get away from their job. But, things such as progressive discipline, conflict resolution, business ethics, we have all of this at our fingertips already, and so that would be a big priority for me to start getting people into classes. We have a training room designated over at Horton. We've purchased a television, and the self-insurance fund's doing training there when they come down once a month, and the safety coordinator's doing training there. So that is something I would like to focus on.
Do we, other than job-specific training, do we require a certain number of training hours?
No, we do not.
For safety, we do. For safety, we did.
We used to, Rifle, the league used to monitor that. Self-insurance fund? used to
Yes,
monitor it.
Mayor Crawford, Mayor Pro Tem Salas, the safety, the New Mexico Self-Insurance Fund, they changed the way they do their training. You don't have to have the 8 hours for a manager, 16 hours for an employee. They changed all that, but we do have the training logs we send. It's all part of our audit, and whenever we do our workman's comp premiums and things like that, so we make sure we're getting the training, all the training done, so. And also, just going back to what Cheryl said on, when someone's promoted from a maintenance tech to a foreman, is making sure we provide that training, because sometimes now you're responsible for employees, and you may have to discipline someone. And I've had one department a few years back, and he was promoted, and he said, "Oh, I didn't know I had to do write-ups," so we're making sure we work with Zach here. We have a labor attorney that we use, a private attorney, and she worked on our personnel policy with us, and if we have issues, we contact Dina Holcomb, so, on anything that comes up. And she provides training also.
Cheryl, do we have customer service training?
We actually did do that within the last year. Erica Moncayo?
Yep.
Erica Moncayo from the Self-Insurance Fund, she came down and she actually developed a customer
Oh,
service
okay.
training based on some of our policies and
The only
processes.
thing, and it's not just from customer service, different people that I have talked to, that have talked to me, a lot of times, we're shorthanded. I don't think that should ever be
A reason,
no,
correct.
ever. So I've heard that more and more. So we need to be careful about that.
What do you mean shorthanded? There's nobody to come to work?
it's an excuse that we're shorthanded, this is why we didn't get it done. That, that employees are telling the community that. I'm right there with you, I understand.
Okay.
Yes.
Back in my day, the customer service training was answer the phone with a smile. And that was about
They
it.
can hear your smile.
Well,
They can hear the smiling.
I can remember when I first moved to town, there was no customer service. You couldn't get them to talk to you here. You know, and I would make appointments with the mayor and never could get in to see him. And then finally, when Ray Alburn was mayor, he saw me and listened to what the complaints were, where I was getting harassed by the police department for doing exactly what the comprehensive plan said. And that was the very first thing. And then we had all those windows up where you had to look through the little deal and knock on it and say, hey, please come here, and, you know, that. And so we've tried to change that. And then we had what happened in Aztec, where we're concerned for the safety of our employees. And so you have to lock the doors and you do all these different things. And then I get, oh, you guys are building a fortress. You don't want to. So there's this fine line that you walk, on, you know, because we want safety for our employees, and, but then of being accessible. And so, I mean, we do everything we can, but you're right. I have got calls, they said, well, the reason we're not doing this is because we don't have the manpower or whatever.
And that's usually probably the truth.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't think it should go out to the customer.
Right. No, I think customer service training is very important, and organizational culture, it all comes back down to that. And
It's just too much information. I didn't come to work today because I got diarrhea, or I didn't feel good today, so I'm not coming in. You know, we don't have to give every bit of it, and they've given blow by blows on how short they are and how many hours they've worked, and, you know, and then the customer calls me and says, man, I know everything about this guy, you know.
Mayor, I used to have to screen people for COVID, if you remember that, and contact tracing, so I've heard it all.
Oh, I bet
They
you
don't-
have.
They don't usually hold back,
You know.
Well,
so, and they still don't to this day.
And
It's like,
Mayor
I
and
don't
Count-
really need to know that.
Mayor and council, it's just, for example, when Gina gets calls, you know, she'll talk to the resident, whoever it may be, and she sends me a text with that number, and I call them immediately. And Mayor does the same thing, and that's
Well,
what we
y'all are
do.
very, very good.
And we make-
I mean, our people are good, and I know that sometimes you're just, I know it can be very overwhelming. I do know that.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's a good thing to say to, I know that a lot of times we don't have the manpower.
And there's times that the department is fully staffed and they still say they're shorthanded, they feel the stretch, but I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay, thank you.
And then continuing to utilize ENMU Redoso for any specialized training. Continuing our internship program, which was great. Last year, we had 7 interns. We did lunch and learns once a week. We assigned 2 projects to them
Bless you.
to work on as a group. We wanted them to be able to present that to council, but I'm not sure what was going on at the time. I guess with the flooding and everything, we just ran out of time. But we do have 2 full-time employees out of that group. They're doing well, and we had one of the interns came back and helped over Christmas break. So I think that was really successful.
We
Hopefully
heard
we
that
can
all day
continue.
yesterday about the interns.
Yeah. And then creating a mentorship program, and we sort of have one, but for critical roles in the organization. You know, just a couple weeks ago, talking about Mark, our street manager, and kind of creating a mentorship with Marty Luna. You know, they're right there, they're both managers, they're both dealing with a lot of the same things when it comes to personnel, safety, and other things, and continuing succession planning efforts. The next goal is employee performance and retention incentive strategy. And so just to continue to improve level of service outcomes and help with turnover, help retain employees, looking at that incentive plan again. We talked about it. We didn't bring it back because I really wanted to with the results of the pay plan or the compensation study, I wanted to look at everything, look at the big picture with you all and not, if we decided we could handle that and then not be able to look at this other stuff. So I wanted to be able to bring it all to you at the same time. And then the last goal is looking at a digital platform for our policies. And there's several out there. NeoGov actually has one, but I'd like to identify and vet a software that can help manage our policies. We can, give us sample policies from public sector entities. It can vet our policies as well, and then be able to send those out to employees, all digital to track. It does get difficult to send out 240 plus, acknowledgements when we do change policies, but this would be a nice, efficient way to track that. And then the huge thing for me is it would keep policy version control in order. So if I needed to, for an IPRA, if I had to go back and produce an employee handbook from December of 2020, I would be able to easily do that without sorting through hundreds of copies. So that would be something I'd like to look at and vet before budget time comes around.
So getting back to the 24% turnover, which is alarming, you previously said you do conduct exit interviews.
Yes.
Is there any common reason?
Well,
Housing, housing's the number one.
yeah, I do see things on workload and pay, I'll be honest. But then there's others that, Jenny just left because she had to go to, climb across her family. We have retirements in there, we have voluntary and involuntary resignations within that group. But yeah, I do see a pattern a lot of times of workload and pay being an issue.
So do you discuss that with Ron?
Mm-hmm.
But I can tell you, your
Sometimes-
experience in banking is not, in here, is different. People go into banking and whatever, but in my industry, 24% is average. People come into work, you talk to the business downtown, and we call it retreading. You working for me today, and by the time I get you comfortable, then you come in and quit. You don't show up for work, and you're working for me. Happens all the
Mayor,
time.
that's a fair observation. That said, 24% turnover is costing us quite a bit of money.
It does.
And
I'm just saying there's not an answer that you're gonna reach out and pluck. It's gonna be, we're gonna have to get workers to the community, just like housing, just like anything. The more you have of it, the more available it is. And that's what the housing is gonna do, is bring people in to work.
right.
And I've talked to some realtors that have long-term rentals available that they're not even getting inquiries on, mainly because they're very expensive. They're run down, but those people have had to move and they've already got a rent contract.
Yeah.
And they're living in Alamogordo, Roswell, or whatever. They want to come back, but they don't want to jump their lease. They're responsible. So I know that we will get some back. And when I've talked to some of these guys that have left, it's just, they didn't think driving was a big deal, or they didn't want to work that hard. And I get it.
You talk about housing costs. Friend of mine, Ron, you talked to him Monday, but he lost his house to the flood. He bought a motor home. He said they're charging $1,000 a month for a trailer space.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, it's,
Wow.
That's awful.
Where?
really.
Where?
Man.
$1,200?
$1,200 and that did not include all utilities.
Holy
Wow.
cow.
Definitely have to go outside of Rando, so if we're at Little Creek and we pay $5.50. So it definitely depends on where
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. Mayor and council also on some of these positions where they're on probationary status and you have by 30, 60, 90 days, I mean, some of them, it's not working out. And we work with them, we do any type of performance plan with them, whatever we can do to train them more, and it just doesn't work. So we've had a lot of those also.
We've also tried where we can to accommodate transfers. If this is just not the job for you, then
Right.
maybe they would be a good fit in this department and give
Right.
opportunities. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't.
I think that'd be another number to evaluate out of that 24% is which one, I mean, what percentage is employee initiated or the village just saying you're not working out?
Right. Yeah, that would be something to look at, Councilman.
Well, that would bring that number,
Yeah.
bring it down.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Cheryl, thank you for coming in, and as far as being that go-between, and I know the mayor affectionately calls you Mama Cheryl, but it is because you're the one that sits there when a director comes and says, we need this, and you're over there going, oh, here we go again, I gotta go. But you do come forward, so don't give up on that.
Yeah,
On us
exactly.
or them.
Okay, appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
We're having finance. Is there going to be, is Judy here today? Are you,
She's on,
She's online.
okay, you guys are coming up?
I want to hear about Colin. This guy, this guy's famous. New Mexico State University did a thing on him, what was it, a month ago or so, Colin? Yeah, they had a spotlight on him via the university for what he did at school, and then it came here. Because I get the emails.
Well, what did he do at school? Green, and pull it closer to you. Thank you.
So in my last year of school, I actually picked up a couple awards for an outstanding graduate, finance outstanding graduate, so different amount of awards. So
Right.
oh,
For your work on the farm or what?
no, for my academic work.
Oh, for getting good grades?
Yeah, for getting good grades and
Okay,
being a part of extracurricular activities. So
okay, well,
good
congratulations.
job.
every now and then they'll email me and ask how things are going, and they like to do updates. So
And I got it because of the families of NMSU or whatever it was. It just shows up. And one day I was reading, I said, hey, I know him. I read it. So again, I just wanted to make that public.
I'm
for
glad you
everybody
said
else.
that. Way to go, Colin.
thank you. So we are finance. Looking at our operational or organizational chart, we'll have Judy at the top at finance director. We'll have me just underneath her as assistant finance director. We do have a capital projects manager position vacant. I don't know if we're still looking for,
We're holding that position at the moment, and we'll look at it during budget time and decide.
So, let me start out, just a little bit of a scenario. Over the last couple of years, finance has seen, increase in us getting people trained and then we lose them, or we hire the right person and we get them going and then somebody steals them. So finances, we are finally almost fully staffed. And so the majority of our goals, even though they are repetitive from prior years, it's because have been for the last few years in a constant training mode of training new people, cross-training new people. So hopefully now that we've added Colin and Maddie, and I hope that with the new generation, we'll keep these people for a long time, so we won't be in that constant training and losing people path, and we could accomplish some of these goals. So right now, I feel we've kind of been at the strongest part of wherever finance has been in the last few years, although we'll be, for the next few years, splitting our time between emergency disasters and finance and trying to keep it going. So as you know, again, a lot of the goals that you're gonna be seeing in my departments are just rehashes of stuff that we haven't been able to complete over the last few years. So go ahead and take it, Colin, where you were going.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
I have a question. So what is the difference between the capital project manager and Bianca's project manager?
So capital projects manager, Bianca is out in the field on the projects themselves. The capital projects manager is the one who's dealing with all the grants.
Oh, okay.
Looking at the FEMA paperwork, making sure it gets done. Looking at all the Water Trust Board grant loans, making sure that what we're buying is in line with the grant agreements, making sure that the budgets and the funding sources are in the correct fund, reconciling all the amounts to the quarterly or monthly reports that we're submitting to the granting agency, making sure that the GL balances, and it also on the back end kind of backs up some of the finance part as far as some of the duties of the assistant finance director, helping reconcile some of the GL balances to payroll reports, because some of the grants include payroll, and just making sure that the GL and what we're reporting to agencies and applying for as reimbursements are all getting done. So it's kind of a full cycle, helping with procurement of the construction part of the project or whatever needs to be as far as the construction project. So it's kind of overseeing the whole life cycle of a construction project from inception and design all the way through procurement and through completion of the project and reimbursement from the granting agency.
Thanks, Judy.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Colin.
No, that's okay. We'll have Miss Christy Coker as the customer service manager. We'll have Miss Robin Parts as the staff accountant 2. We'll have Miss Bianca Vega as a project manager. And then we also have a new addition, Caitlin Daughtery as a purchasing agent. And then we'll have Vera Wheeler as a capital project coordinator. For utility billing clerk 2, we have Larissa Aparicio. And then we actually just had a vacancy become open as a utility billing clerk 1. So that position is vacant. And then we have Ms. Shelley Prow as a utility clerk, a utility billing clerk. And then we also have Ms. Madison Schlotfield at staff accountant 2. Another new addition, Kimberly Pena at staff accountant 1. And then we also have Andrew Solon as the IT support tech.
Colin, are all of these people in this building?
Yes, sir. I believe, yes, sir. All these people are in this building.
Okay.
And actually has an office at Horton. And so he works through both locations.
Is Horton fully occupied at this point? Do we have any extra space?
I don't think it's fully occupied.
We are using the majority of the rooms, whether it's one of our uses, or sometimes we have other community members using those rooms.
Okay.
But when the EOC is fully operational, we use every
No
room.
space.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thanks. Rob.
Eric has found a purpose.
Okay, so looking at our tactical plan, item number 1, we want to take the annual financial report of the village and expand it into a comprehensive annual financial report. So in order for us to complete this, we need to review the checklist for preparing the report from the Government Finance Officers Association, to therefore determine if there are any sections that we have that are lacking in our current audit report. We also need to contact our auditor, Chris Garner, Patillo, Brown and Hill, to sign a small service agreement so that they can help us gather some data for the statistical section and to help the finance department guiding other areas that might be lacking. We have contracted with Jim Cox to help with the statistical information and review. Looking at goal number 2, we just wanted to develop further training and develop operating manuals for each department with dealing and trying to process tasks in Tyler Encode. So I believe we have several areas that we have completed, such as budget input, budget reports, general ledger inquiry, purchase requisitions, and budget adjustment. We just need to update the screenshots and gather documents into a single PDF.
If I may, real quick, how
Yes.
payroll, I remember that being the nightmare. Is it still?
Payroll is going really well. We've transitioned this year from myself doing payroll to Madison doing payroll, and she has an extraordinary talent for manuals. And so within the first 2 to 3 times that she and I were working on payroll, we took the original manuals that I'd come up with, or that I was given and had fixed, and Madison had really updated those so that it's much easier, so that in the event that Madison or I, neither one were here, somebody could take those notes and actually perform and do payroll. And so talent is extraordinary there.
So,
And
picking up on Counselor Hooker's comments, when I worked at the village, the time cards were a mess. Is that no longer a problem?
Time is our biggest issue with payroll because our time entry system is not set up to best perform. And so we are trying to accomplish and identify ways to make that more efficient. And so,
in regards to the time entries, we have been speaking with the departments individually, and we've got our biggest issues when it comes to the holiday time. We've got a fairly well set out plan for them to enter, and they've been very communicative with us.
Well, and this is no reflection on my friend, Mr. Hooker, but the PD was always a major problem is because of their pay differential.
I bet firemen too.
they're,
Really?
yes.
Wow.
Maybe it was me. Maybe I was the problem. Must have been it, darn it. Well, that's why I'm asking, because when it comes up, and I just remember what it was like, you know, we just started dreading that. Oh, here we go, and the phone calls and back and forth, and so-and-so's got to get in there, and you got to wake them up and get them to do. So.
Mayor Crawford, Counselor Hooker, we have a pretty strict employee that works on payroll, and I'll look at her. She's really doing a great job, and she really,
She
on the
is.
payroll, I mean, I give her a lot of credit.
What is the payroll system?
It's all through our Tyler software.
Because, you know, when I hear about all the different types of pay and, I mean, that just sounds very complicated, but it's working out good.
It is working out well, and we've got adjustments we can make, given the time, if we can concentrate on it to make it better. And so that'll just take time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, Mr.
So
Mayor,
the goal also is to, once Kimberly, who just started with us as staff count 1, as soon as she masters accounts payable, she will begin training payroll. So then we'll have at least 3 people on staff that could process.
And then I also believe, or I know that Ms. Robin has set up some PACE trainings for us to start and to get in and work with Encode just a little bit more. I know, obviously myself, I just recently hired on within 2 months. So I believe these trainings will help not only me, but everyone else get a better hang of the software. The next tactical plan item would be we need a little help in the development of cost of service rates for the department. So we're interested in developing 5 and 10-year plans to ensure adequate funding, not only for capital projects, but for the required levels of service for events. So we need to meet with a financial advisor to help develop financing based on growing needs of the village. We also need to review personnel costs and work with departments to develop cost of service rates. With some
These
vacancies.
rates, I know yesterday we talked about the mutual aid agreements with the city of Rio Doce Downs. If we had these cost of service levels, we would be able to give you a cost of what it cost us to send our firefighters down. So
Yep.
I think that would be a very good indication of where we're spending our money. And once we do these studies, it would be nice to keep them updated each year because, you know, as personnel costs increased and inflation happens, these figures would have to be adjusted so that we would always know what it's costing us. And then if we decided to charge someone, we would have a pretty good basis on what it costs us to truly do the job.
That's a great idea.
I like that, Judy, thank you, but I was wondering if 3 and 7 years would be more manageable.
It probably would be. I think once we start the project and see how it works and design it the way you want at that time, then the number of years, we can make a decision, but that might be a easier, more manageable timeframe.
Well, that's what I would shoot for. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then the last goal that we have is, actually, it'd be my favorite goal. It would be to hire an assistant finance director, which I had the privilege of accepting this position. We all know that Judy is retiring pretty soon, so we need to be able to balance and everything that she's been doing and take everything off her plate and have a good succession plan. So I believe this position will honor that.
So Colin, how are you feeling about being the assistant? I know there's a lot to it.
Yes, yes, ma'am. I say I'm learning new things, obviously, every day. I don't believe any day has technically been the same, dealing with different
Makes it pretty
matters,
interesting, doesn't it?
Yes.
Judy, how do you think things are going okay?
She's going to say no in
Sometimes-
front of all these.
Sometimes he makes me crack up because his eyes get so big when I show stuff. And unfortunately, with my illness, I haven't had a lot of time to train. But these next 2 quarters, we're going to start running parallels, meaning that I'll be doing the monthly report, the quarterly reconciliations, and both Colin and Maddie are going to be running on parallel, so they have a little bit more time. Because I can explain it, but until you get in there
Yeah, that's the
and
truth.
actually start doing it, it's a lot. So we're going to try that approach and see if it works better than me just training. And what I've tried to do for the last few months is put a lot of notes in my spreadsheets and follow checklists. You do this thing first, this thing second, this is where you get the report, so that it won't be so hard of a transition.
Right.
So Judy, speaking of transition, one of the greatest accomplishments you've achieved along with your team are the minimal audit findings. How do you see that going forward as far as training and interfacing with the accountants?
So the reason that we don't have a lot of findings is because of the lot of the processes and internal controls that we have, and my staff already knows those processes and how we do it. The issue might be is somebody fully understanding the financial statements, which, I mean, I've already told Ron that once I retire, I would like to come back on a contract and finish the 26 audit
Okay.
so that I could kind of train Colin. Our audit is actually prepared through the same software that the auditor does. So all the worksheets and everything that I've done since I've been there are in that program. So they are available for look back. But, you know, when you do your first audit and you write your first financial statements, it's a little bit overwhelming.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't have a lot of experience with financial statements. So either you could do a contract with me, or you could just increase the cost to the audit and have Chris do it himself. So either way, but,
Well, and don't sell yourself short. It's more than just procedures. You know, I know earning credibility with the auditor is critical.
It is.
And knowing how to diplomatically respond to criticisms and questions and following through with those questions is equally important.
It is.
and Robin and they haven't met Maddie and Colin a lot, the auditors, but they've dealt with Robin a lot. So we should have a little bit of continuity there. Chris and Ron have a really great relationship. So Chris is real down to earth. And so I guess we'll just have to see what happens and what comes up. But if staff follows our internal controls and does everything what we're currently doing, we shouldn't have any problems.
But Robin, you know what I'm talking about. Years ago, our finance director got really argumentative with the auditor, and it went downhill from there.
No.
Oh. I didn't know that.
Yes.
Yes.
Mayor Crawford, members of the council, you know, I've worked with Chris a long time and in his group, and I mean, he does an excellent job. He's there to assist in any way he can, and he's went to bat for us on some finding that we had several years ago with that was with the wastewater treatment plant. And him and I went and we spoke with the state auditor and DFA, and we finally were able to get that off our audit list that was reoccurring every year, and we got that. So he's worked with us a lot, so.
What's his contract? How much longer is he?
Judy, what's the,
That was your question.
So,
what was it?
and that may become an issue in the future because I do so much on the audit. I prepare all the worksheets. I prepare the financials that the cost of our audit is under the 60,000. So technically, I don't have to go out to bid every 4 years. However, every 10 years, per the state auditor rule, you have to change. They have to come off at least 1 year. And I believe he's in his fourth year of that year cycle.
Because he was with a
A different
different
firm.
company.
Yes, he was with Axiom before, and then he's now with Patil Brown, so.
But it-
Patil?
We're
Yeah,
on our third or fourth year with Patil.
yep.
I thought it was one and then three, or two with Axiom and then
But
he
he's,
moved over.
right, he's with a different,
Yeah, so I thought that was three with the new one, T.O. Brown.
Well, thanks for leaving us in such wonderful financial stability.
Well,
Yes.
as long as we're giving Judy some kudos there to go along with what Councilor Corey was stating, kudos as far as building the relationship with the auditors and developing such a fine audit, but also developing the respect of all the directors and people that actually come to the finance department asking for money, and Judy having a stiff back, saying, no, we're not going to do it that way. No, this is the way we're going to do it.
no money, yeah.
Because we have heard stories of people coming to Judy saying, asking for money, asking to do it this way or that way, which would have been totally against any of the state statutes, the rules, but also Judy held firm and had her step back. So we definitely, if you allow yourself to get steamrolled, they will steamroll you. And
Yep.
Judy didn't allow that to happen.
But yet she works in a way to, before she says no, to see if there's anything that she can do.
Before she
Well,
says
then,
no.
my first answer is always, oh.
I honestly don't know what they're talking about. You've never said no. I mean, I don't know who they're talking about. Every time I go to you and ask you, how do we do this, you just give me an answer. But the people sitting right here in front of us do a great job too, because we have been inundated by phishing methods and people trying to get checks sent to places and ACH is done, and you guys have been very good about catching those things and following those processes that were put in place that we all voted on, that you've stayed with those, because there's been a few that have almost got by, and because they're getting so sophisticated. So I applaud you guys all the time because you've caught those things. And I don't know how these people get this information, how they know what vendor is, what the vendor name is, and to get these things done. But I appreciate you really paying attention to your workload and actually what you're doing, instead of just being a machine and hitting the button. So thank you all for that.
Mr. Mayor, Colin or Judy, I was trying to get my arms around the comprehensive annual financial report, which seems a step above and a more intuitive way of looking at the data. Now, mind you, you're talking to somebody who's only had 10 years of accounting, but will that give you a tool to make you more real-time responsive to methods or processes that you currently have?
So, when you guys do the comprehensive plan, finances part in the whole comprehensive plan is seeing what the other departments are gonna need over the years. It really doesn't say a lot about finance as about changing our processes or procedures or anything. I think the comprehensive plan just gives us a 5 to 10 year, 15, 20 year lookout on what the needs of the village are gonna be. And so that we can start preparing, and the mayor has always, is a big advocate of finding new revenue sources in order to accomplish some of those things. So I think the comprehensive plan is kind of our crystal ball to see where the village is going, so that we can find and match revenue sources in order to accomplish the goals of the comprehensive plan.
So, speaking of the comprehensive plan, you know, when we attended that meeting where they basically gave the summary, there were some items in there that were clearly, you know, for example, they had lodger's tax funding affordable housing. At what point are those things going to be ironed out?
Mayor Crawford, Councilor Corey, the mayor and I spoke with the consultants following the meeting, and that was just a preliminary meeting, and they're still going to have stakeholders for now the next several months, and we'll be meeting with them, and we'll have to work with them and make sure all that information is correct. And we told them you can't do that with the lodger's tax. They said maybe in Texas or somewhere they may do it, but not here.
I'm serving on the steering committee.
Yes.
Is that one of the things the steering committee will do?
Yes,
is
that's
bring it back
correct.
down to
Yes,
earth?
you will, like the overbuilding and stuff in Midtown, we don't want that canyon effect, but what it could lead us to, you know, a lot of those things that you look at and that's just not us. That's what that steering committee's to do, is to get them to reevaluate and come up with other options.
So I'm curious, Mayor, what was your takeaway with the
There wasn't really anything that was put forth that hadn't been discussed, that we weren't working on. I was surprised that there wasn't more, you mentioned it yesterday, discussion about roads. Infrastructure, those kind of things. I was expecting a little bit more, I really was. More of a direction of, more for our community, that felt more like a generic system that was set over And then they put plug and play with the buildings and different things of that nature. But that there wasn't more emphasis, the village didn't pay for all this. Okay, this buildings and all this stuff, that's private investment.
Yeah.
So about how do we attract private investment? You're wanting these things, what are you willing to do to pay for them?
Right.
Because all these things that we've done to date have cost the taxpayer nothing. But when you talk about building out the indoor swimming pool and all that stuff over here, we're going to figure out some way to go out for a bonding or whatever, to more discussion. And I think that when we come to the final, and then they do a public presentation, those are things that I expect the steering committee to ask those questions of that. But I understand, we do this every day, so I'm looking for more detail. To some of those folks that were there, they were like, this is exciting.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, okay, you got to back off. We deal with this every day.
Right.
And to them, this was fresh stuff that, opened some of their eyes to possibilities.
Yeah.
And so that was good. So I don't like to put my own feeling in it because I wanted a college course on it, a big presentation of stuff that we haven't figured out yet, where we're going. And because we gave them some ideas of things that we're talking about doing, they did plug those in, like the outdoor economic, like with the baseball, soccer fields, all the other things that Eddie's been talking about. How can we incorporate those in? And then how do we further diversify from the track and the ski
Well,
patch?
and I think one of your strengths, and it's one of my weaknesses, is you're willing to think outside the box. Which, that's.
Well, I know, and it sounds crazy to some people when we're talking about the 22 million for this, and they assume that came out of our bank account. And when I try to explain to them that it's private investment, that we've attracted it, and that we've done a private-public partnership, and it's not costing you anything.
Yeah.
And then, to be able to work through those things and go outside and bring in outside investment. And some people like that, and some people don't.
Right.
Some people want the gate closed, we're here,
And want full control.
and we don't want anybody else in here.
Yeah.
And then they feel threatened with their other businesses, anything that come in. And then what I'm looking at is the we for the community. How do we sustain and stabilize revenue? Because when I was in business down there, when we first got started, we didn't have shoulder seasons. They were sloped.
Yeah.
And now then, it's more steady.
Right.
And that's, and people don't recognize that now.
Yeah.
They take it for granted that this is the way it always
It's
was.
the truth.
And so when they have a little dip, and then we've seen how the GRTs come back and rebounded and surpassed 24.
Yes.
But they got their pay raise that went in the bank, and they're a spender. They're used to that spending limit, and now then it's reduced, their revenue's reduced, then it's panic city. And so it's getting back to reality and educating, and I was hoping that they would talk more about that at the comprehensive plan on the financial stability. Here's where you are, and look at the graphs. These are real numbers, because when I show people numbers, they think I'm making them up.
But they didn't do any of that.
No.
And,
So,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, Ron. A couple of questions. First and foremost, as that plan was being developed, we didn't know about the racetrack.
We talked about coming up with options in the event
Okay,
of,
so they're gonna work that into the plan?
yes, the
Okay.
economic, the older guy there, his company,
Yeah.
that was one of their primary directives was play like that's gone, because we are going to lose the racing season for the third year.
Yeah.
So that's a 20 to 40% decrease possibly in revenue for our businesses
Okay.
downtown. What do we do to surpass that? And that's where Eddie's been working on a lot of these things to give them suggestions
Right.
on what can we do,
Sure. Second question, Ron, what was the community participation this time versus, the last time we did the comp plan?
Mayor Crawford, Councilor Corey, when we did the last comprehensive plan, we didn't have, like, you could go and visit, they had their studio there, it was totally different, we all met there. This one here was people came in, at different times of the day. The meeting was well-attended, this one here, but I think we may have had more of a participation on the last one.
I think so.
So,
think we did,
going back
too.
to your question, we also had other subcommittees. We discussed water, sewer, roadways, housing, so we had separate committees. Department of Transportation attended, so all that's going to be also incorporated into the plan.
Okay.
They weren't really brought up in those public meetings.
Yeah.
Well, and maybe because it's not quite as sexy.
Well, and that's what people were talking about was the bigger items, quality of life issues, economic. And you're right, because they weren't really sexy items.
Well, and there was a lot of younger people, so they're not looking at infrastructure as much. They're looking for what can we do? How are you going to keep us busy?
Quality of life, yes.
And you saw that at one point when we were looking through there, that there was well over a third of the people that were not Village of Ruidoso residents.
Exactly.
They were county, and they were there because they wanted to make sure that their business was going to be facilitated, like the baseball folks and some of those others, that they wanted to get their 2 cents in. And so, and those are things that we're having right now, is we're getting a lot of push from outside the village on what they want, but they don't pay for.
Exactly.
And it's just like what's going on right now, that people don't even live in the county or live in the village limits or running for these seats up here. And so why not let everybody in the county vote and tell us what to do?
No,
And so it's those kind of things that are happening. But when you deal with the national politics, I expect some of this to be coming to the forefront. But it's housing is what we're going to hear. It's economic development, and it's basically, how's my job secure and business secure? And that's the main things. And then, just like Ron said, the streets, the DOT, all of those things, those are subcommittees that it's going to be there.
I didn't notice a lot of Midtown business owners there. No.
No?
No, I went to a lot of those subcommittee meetings because I'd show up about 9:30 and go to whatever meeting was there. The only one I missed was the chamber because we had the council meeting. And there was a lot of good ideas. I think there are a couple different areas that were underrepresented at that whole function was the younger people, because you had older people deciding what the younger people might want, and then also senior citizens. So I did suggest to them and asked if they would, in conjunction with the school or whomever, would ask if there could be a survey taken from the school children that age. And then Matt suggested from K on up, what they would be interested in, what would actually draw them, because we could decide what younger people might want and be attracted to and build it, and then nobody show up.
Yeah.
And then also, I asked Matt if he could possibly have a survey of the RSVP program, because I think that would be a good snapshot of the seniors within this area, and he said he would get that, because he said they available as far as his contacts would be over 1,000.
Well, I can tell you, because I go there and I talk to those people.
They don't live in.
Well, a lot of them live in the village, but it's my water bill. We should be getting a senior citizen discount. I'm not disagreeing with any of them, but how do you take one class and say, you get a discount? People that are on fixed incomes, all of those kind of things that we take into consideration. And when we've asked about legality of it, they're like, you don't want to get into that. So, those are things that I hear from those folks. It's about affordability. It's about, having better access to doctors. That was a question. And like the village, we try to work hard with that. But quite frankly, it's legislation that's going on in Santa Fe, that those same folks get voted in at the same time. Senator Peter Worth, the other one is out of Las Cruces. What's his name?
Steinborn.
No, not who?
Steinborn?
No, the other one,
It's the
big one.
Cervantes, yes.
They're trial lawyers, and so they get all the torts raised on all the communities, and then you're able to take somebody, a lawsuit here in Ruidoso, Linn County, and move it to Santa Fe or move it to whatever, where these juries, I don't know what they're smoking when they walk in there, and award $412 million to the new male deal because his erectile dysfunction medicine or whatever didn't work. And the lady that twisted her ankle in the Mexican restaurant got $32 million and puts people out of business. And then no other buddy wants to go there. Insurance companies don't want to insure you. It's a snowball. And then, but they want us to fix it. And so our issue is we spend a lot of time in Santa Fe working with those people, but they are in power. And until their constituents in Las Cruces vote them out, Peter Worth will never get voted out. They've gerrymandered his deal where it's so small that nobody is going to be able to beat him, you know, until he quits. And so that's the way New Mexico politics is. And so, those are the situations that we're dealing with now.
Well, you're just full of good news.
Well, I'm telling you, it's the truth. We're overwhelmed and, you know, on how to fight that. That's why it's key we work so hard with the municipal league.
Oh, yeah.
That they go in strategic, and that's why we always fight preemption, because preemption leads to more preemption, and the county's over here telling us, no, you need to, and they said this in the little forum that I had at the Women's Federated, why are you spending $50,000 on something that you can do for free? That doesn't show very good financial responsibility.
For what?
For us doing our own elections. And so I gave them the reasons that we were doing our own elections. And I said, but let me tell you about preemption, county manager, county clerk, is before long, they're going to be telling you where to build houses in the village. And what concern of that is yours? You don't live in the village, but the people in the village need to be able to make that decision. But right now, they have been trying, and the New Mexico Municipal League has been successful in pushing that back. But we were successful in the voting deal for some years too. But now then, that's overtaken us. And that's what's going to happen. We're going to be working for Santa Fe 100% of the time, and these positions won't matter.
No, they won't.
It'll become like the school board.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's where they're pushing us.
Figurehead.
And when I tried to explain that, although these people heard was that we're spending $50,000, we could save it right there, and you could fix my street. $50,000 ain't going to fix your street, number one. But it's just about how people don't understand, and how do we better educate them. People don't want to be educated.
Yeah, because that's 500,000 for a mile.
Yeah, that's what, was it Josh or?
Josh said it was about $1 million a mile,
Yeah.
half a million a mile.
It has been as high as $1 million.
Yeah, depending on the price of oil, and
Oh,
then that oil that they use is what they call a triple chain hydrocarbon that can go to high temperatures and then becomes more solid. And that's high dollar stuff. And so that can double and triple in price.
That was an epiphany for me because, you know, when I was running 2 years ago, I had proposed maybe allocating part of lodger's tax for wear and tear on the roads, but after hearing that, that's a drop in the bucket.
Oh, yeah. It's got a hole in it.
In Mayor and Council, one other cost that's really increased is the trucking for the asphalt. That is really just increased so much where, you know, we have to pay that also, and it's just really, just the inflation factor on that is what they're telling us, but it's just can't believe the cost, so.
You know, and there's even been comparisons on what would a concrete road look like and what's the longevity of that? And what could we compare those? But, you know, it's all the same. We can't even get a batch plant here, so everything has to come in. And so now we're talking to contractors that bring in on the special trucks and equipment that bring in dry mix, and they set it right out here and they mix it. And that's how but that's all new equipment. You know, it's not the old ones that they fill up in Alamogordo or in Roswell and then dry it over here, and they have to watch the chemicals they mix with it so it doesn't overheat. Because sometimes it gets too hot here and it heats up too fast and dries, and then you have what's happened over at the park where the the bathroom setting, it's chipping and falling off, and it hadn't been there but a month.
Yeah.
And so,
Is that why it's still closed?
No, they closed it because, I'm sorry, I should let you answer, but because the maintenance on it. There's one of them that's open.
one side,
There's 4
yeah.
doors, if you will.
Right.
They only got the one open on the corner that faces the skate park. The other one's closed, and then the 2 you see on the road are closed, just so they don't have to clean them all.
Oh.
There's not that much use right now.
Yeah, and, we do have folks, not particularly on that one, but others that go in there and, because it's warm.
Yeah.
And hang out, and do drugs and stuff like that.
Great job, Finance. Oh, yeah.
Utility billing.
Yeah.
Yes. So a lot of ours for utility billing carried over again because of turnover in utility billing. So I've been full-time up there since June. So we are still working to tweak our lien process and make sure that we are following our ordinance and everything to the T. But we have found that some of the verbiage in our ordinance is iffy. So that's something we are going to be working on, is getting our ordinance updated to make it to where our verbiage matches everything when it goes through our billing cycle and the way Tyler is set up, and that what the wording is on our billing. So we want to make sure we can trace back everything and show each person, this is where this says this matches this.
Well, what do you mean you lost me, as far as enforcement or something with the judge?
Yes, that, and also because the way Tyler is set up, and it says on the blue bills, on the past due notices, you will be cut off, and then there's verbiage in the ordinance that says turn off. So we're just not, our wording isn't matching, and we just need to make sure that we can pinpoint every detail.
Did
as
we
to
ever
what we're
get
doing.
everybody on the same billing cycle?
No, we have not. We still have 4 billing cycles. I know that Dusty, when she was here, she was working to get us to 2. And she had worked with Tyler to get us on a 30-day billing cycle, because before it wasn't a specific 30-day cycle for each bill, and now we are. So there's still work being done to get us to where we can and it not affect everybody's bills too harshly. Because from what I understand, the way they were working it was you were gonna have to overbill one and underbill the next.
yeah.
And we don't want to do that because it's already an issue with the billing cycles sometimes doing that.
And I hear that a lot
Yep.
from those, the previous mentioned group.
Yes.
that They'll call me,
so-
and if their bill is off by $5,
Yes.
they're calling me saying, what's going on?
So Larissa and I work very hard to make sure that our bills are going out correctly. That's something that was getting missed was, there's so many steps in the process each week on the billing cycle and so many opportunities to catch mistakes. And there was not a good flow before. And Larissa and I are working very hard every week to make sure we're not missing anything. We did have an issue here recently where we caught a read date got pulled in wrong. And so we have corrected all of those accounts and fixed everybody's. And only got a few phone calls that we know of, that came to us. So we were able to fix those before it got too harsh. And we were being diligent to call the people and say, we had an error in our read dates. We've corrected your bill. The new one is in the mail.
Yeah.
So just trying to be more on top of it.
What is the level of delinquency, do you, approximately?
I have about 90 accounts that need liens filed on them.
Okay, and what are those total dollar-wise?
Some of them are anywhere from $500 to $4,000.
Okay,
But they're cut off already.
They're cut off already, yes.
And a second question, do we offer, like the gas company, where you can average out your
We
bills?
don't have an average, no, we have not gone to that. We've had many PACE trainings with Tyler recently, and they have been so mind-blowing to learn more about our system that we
What
didn't,
it can
we
do.
hadn't been trained on.
Yeah.
But ours is pretty standard.
Yes.
Ours is pretty average, as long as you
Yes,
don't have a big water leak
right.
and you're not filling up your pool twice. We're at that 3,000 gallons. It's at that $150 pretty much.
The base bill, the base bill is about $151.75. That's when you have all the services. Of course, people that don't have sewer and the wastewater, theirs are in the $80, $90 range. One thing that I've had a lot of recently is people saying, well, I'm not even there, I'm not using it. And then I have to explain to them, you have a base bill. Well, I didn't know that, nobody ever told me that. Okay, I look back at the history and you've owned the property for 10 years, how did you not know that?
Yeah, no, it's the truth.
So,
We hear that all the time. and
yes.
Everybody knows the answer to that.
So, of course, I'm constantly referring people to our ordinance and showing them where they can read all of the information that they need to know. And I refer them to our website, and I try to make sure that our website is up to date on the utility billing stuff constantly. Because that's where they're gonna find the big bulk of information, and then they can refer to it when they have more questions,
Are
so.
the ordinances accessible through the website?
Yes, sir.
Yes, all of them.
Sure
And-
is.
What would it take possibly, or do you think it might even be suggestible to put a QR code on the bill to where they could just, boop, say you've got questions, blah, 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 and go right straight to?
So the back of our bills are actually full of information. I mean, it's got a lot of information on there, but yeah, we could look at putting a QR code
And I
on.
think maybe we could take some off. Because you don't even read it anymore.
Yes. Well, for instance, the Ion Water,
Yep.
it's on the bill every month. And I cannot tell you how many people I help sign up for Ion Water on a monthly basis because they say they didn't even know it was an option.
Yeah.
So I know people don't read the bill. We even have had probably 10 people this week tell us, no, I didn't even open my bill and look at what it said. I'm just calling and asking questions. So,
We tried restructuring the bill to let people know, here's how much your water is, distribution.
And
your
that is
sewer.
one of our deals, is that we said the bill format had not been
And
redone in 20 years.
We said we were gonna
so-
do that for years, and I don't know, well, there's always a reason, and it's always a good one when we can't get it done.
Isn't it money?
Mayor and council, we talked to Encode about that. Do you remember, Judy, do you remember
I want to say there's
We just have to sit down with Encode because they have some formats. I'm not sure they're what we need, but we can always design something. But if you go onto the website where you go pay your bill online, I don't know if customers know this, but you can see all your bills. There's graphs of usage. So we have a lot of tools that I just think people don't know about that would help them look at their consumption levels. And we just got to get a feel on what we need to do as far as the bill format and to show what we want to show on the bill so that it's easy to read and that they understand that it's not just a water bill.
Yeah, because that's what usually people think is it's only the water bill.
Right. And I do try to educate every person that I deal with. I remind them, you have access to an online account where you can go and look at every bill you've ever had, and you can see your payments. You're going to see a transaction history that I can print you, yes, but you have access to it 24 hours a day. And then I train them on the Ion Water. I train them on setting up their auto pay if they've set up auto pay. And I walk people through that constantly, just trying to make sure they're educated on all the options that they have with this. And so that is where we spend a lot of our time, is educating our customers.
Yep.
just another, Mayor and council, on our water rates, in applying for Colonias and the Water Trust Board, we have to also submit our current rates for water and sewer. We have to, because they check into that to see, because there's entities that they haven't had a rate increase in 15 years, and they're not going to get funding because they can't maintain a system at their current rate. We also have to send our top 5 water users, sewer users,
Yes.
and all that information to them, and that's all evaluated when we submit an application.
And that's still like with Fine Ridge and those folks that, were, used to be happy about the $19 a month that they paid, that now they don't have a water system. We're still selling them bulk water because the OSE has not come up with accepting or being able to put them on And then if we did that, then there would be a bond or whatever for that section of town and each property, because they'd have to put in all the infrastructure to meet our code, the streets and all that stuff, which would be great for them. And we have the water right there to do it and the capability, but we can't even get the OSC to come up with that. So we're still selling them bulk water that is supposed to be for an emergency. I didn't know how long a period we were allowed to do it.
And we have another, Mayor and Council, another a mutual domestic association at Cedar Creek that wants to join our system.
ours.
Because they don't have any way of, they would be willing to provide water rights and us go in and take over that and replace the water lines. And so that's another request that I've been hearing also.
Is that Eagle Creek West or Eagle Creek?
Down at Cedar Creek,
Cedar
Oh,
Creek.
Cedar Creek.
past the Forest Service in that area. So.
So our second thing is the one-stop shop for utility connections. So I feel like the paperwork still said CityWorks, but it should have said MyGov. Since we've done the MyGov, I have to tell y'all, I'm super excited about this and having the service orders, work orders to where water shop and utility billing will all have the same system. I can actually see, because we do take so many of the phone calls here in the office, and people are calling, well, I talked to the water shop about this 2 weeks ago, what's the status of it? And, you know, they've got Karina trying to answer all of those calls. So when we take those calls, and if we can just look it up and give that answer real quick, it'll stomp a lot of the concerns of people not getting calls back, I think. And also, when it comes to the water applications, the water and sewer new connections, this is one of the areas that I know has been an issue. And having it to where we will continue to take those applications in-house, put it all in the system, that work order is going to be put in right then and right there, and then we can track it so much easier. We have a notebook up there full of applications that some of them have been in there for 2 years, and we don't have a status on that. And it could be that the people decided not to move forward, because we do call them and say, you need to come pay so that we can move forward. So if they never come pay, of course, it just sits there.
Sure.
But I think having it all in that system is going to make it more streamlined for sure.
And Mayor and Council, with this new software, work order software, it's part of the Encode, with their water billing software, our financial software suite. The other one, CityWorks, is totally separate. So it was just having to log into one and then log into the other. Now this is all incorporated as one, so.
So very excited about that. So number 3 is to streamline the utility billing format. Again, we talked about that and setting up a different format for our bills. So I think, because Robin and I are both needing to schedule more PACE trainings, that's going to be what I'm going to ask them for specifically, is for a time frame to go over just the different formats that we could look at. The PACE training has been just absolutely amazing, because it is so one-on-one, and they're looking so in-depth into our system and how we're already doing things, and they're able to tell us, oh, you need to do this instead of this. And like the main lady that I've been working with for the utility billing stuff, she was a utility billing manager for 40 years, and now she's been with Tyler for 8 years. So she's got the knowledge that I need to learn from. And so it's been amazing. She's a talker, but yeah, she's been good. And then our last one is still working to condense the billing cycles. You know, I think if we could eventually at least get to the 2, but it's still going to take some time and try to figure out how we can do it and not impact our customers.
Yeah.
What's the benefit of reducing the billing cycles?
I think probably the biggest impact is less work here in-house. We spend about 2.5 days a week doing billing cycles. And if we could consolidate that, then that gives us more time to keep our accounts in better standing. I have a list that I'm working on of accounts that are inactive accounts with credits on them that has over 200 people on there. And I'm just having to go through each one to see if they moved over here, I'm going to transfer this credit to them here. If they're no longer in the area, do I have a good mailing address for them? If not, I've got to try to get it before I can process a refund to them. Yeah. So it's just a lot of catching up.
But if you cut the billing cycles down, don't you overwhelm yourself processing payments?
Not necessarily. We do have more and more people that are going to credit card payments, ACHs, and then also just straight through their bank, through electronically through their bank. So I would say on a weekly basis, we post maybe 500 to 600 payments, like checks that are sent in. Does that sound about right? Yeah, so
Sorry, you said a day?
no, a week.
A day.
No, you don't run that many checks through the machine. No, I would say, I mean, and Mondays, of course, are always our heavy hitter day because we get the weekend mail. So Mondays, we could possibly have 200 to 300 of the checks on a Monday. And then the rest of the week, they're just kind of scattered.
Do you do a remote capture on the checks?
Yes.
Do we charge a service fee on the credit cards?
$1.25. I know that's something that was talked about doing an increase, but I'm not sure what the status of that is.
What about ACH?
No, sir. No fees on the ACH.
In Mayor Pro Tem Salas and Council Christie, you know, like she said, we promoted her to that manager position, has taken really been a, I'm going to say blessing in being able to get all that department going. So we do appreciate that.
But I do feel like a failure every day when you look at my desk, so.
She's also training still on the procurement, training a new procurement purchasing agent, so she's doing that also. So she wears a lot of hats.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. I've been doing a lot of work at home. Any questions on anything else for us?
No, thank you for your hard work.
Thank y'all.
And Colin, especially wanted to congratulate you on the accolades you were given and the academic achievements you had.
Yes.
Don't come easily.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
So, moving on to information technology, I guess the highlights from last year real quick were just simply we did complete the project with the fiber to the homes. We were able to get a new phone system installed, which fortunately with the way phone systems are done now, it basically replaced our phone service. So we actually didn't have to buy a phone system, which is, in my experience of doing phone systems, is new because it's now included in the cost of your actual overall phone service. So we didn't have to, last time we bought a phone system, it was close to $15,000, $16,000 or more, and we didn't have that expense. So that was a nice thing. The other thing, due to the floods and different power issues, we ended up replacing several servers last year, which cost us money, but we were fortunate with grants and insurance that we had the majority of that covered. So that was an expense that we had a big chunk of change come out that we were not planning on, but we knew were coming up anyway, so we were.
Are the servers all at Horton now?
The servers have all now been moved to Horton. They were not in a good location upstairs, and partially that was due to heat and all sorts of other things. We have gotten them all moved over to Horton for the servers that we do have.
And are we in the cloud?
The majority of our data is in the cloud, but we do have physical backups that we do at Horton, at the police department, at the fire department, and in consolidated dispatch.
Okay.
There's a separate server in consolidated dispatch in the courts that's separate from what we have at Horton.
Who are we using for cloud storage?
Systems MD has a setup. We use Microsoft 365 for a lot of our cloud storage, and we have purchased some other cloud storage through, I'm not sure if it's Microsoft or which service that Systems MD have selected, but the purchase of cloud storage will reduce the need in the future when we have to go in 3 to 4 years to replace servers.
So, Robin, speaking of Systems MD, I was here when we first hired them on. and they essentially were doing everything. What are they doing now?
They still do, they help us monitor and do the security, the cybersecurity, and the majority of the software and things that we use to collect spam and phishing emails.
Okay.
While some still get through, we get a report from them. They block almost 40 to 50% of the emails coming into the village because of spam and phishing attempts that our employees don't ever even see. And then employees, sometimes we have the issue of like, I'm expecting an email and it's not coming through, and we have to work with them. And we, employees now actually have the capability of going to the spam filtering website so that they can see those individual emails and they can release them on their own. Or they can, if they haven't never logged into it or need one almost immediately, they can call Systems MD themselves and get it released.
Is Systems MD, are they doing any social engineering training or audits?
They don't do any social engineering training, but if they do know of something, they will share that with us and we will get it out to employees as best we can.
That might be something to think about, given the amount of.
That's one of the goals that I've got set here for this upcoming. No, because it's a major issue, as we discovered, as the mayor mentioned earlier, is we had major phishing the last couple of weeks when we were trying to make a wire payment, and we had someone who attempted to intercept that payment just the day before, the 4 hours before we were supposed to make it.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, no, wire it here. And it was not even the person
Yeah,
who.
and I may have told you this before, but I had a customer and they lost $11 million.
Wow.
Because someone hacked into their email and changed the wiring instructions.
We routinely get emails that say, oh, Mayor Crawford said for you to do this. And we're like, no, he didn't. So, but that's just one of the things that we deal with. So where SystemMD does a lot of things in the background. They're here every 2 weeks to help with the maintenance of the servers. They work with Andrew on training. They use him for a lot of things when physically they would need someone on the ground and they're not here and something has to be done to a server. Boy, he's just spot on about being able to walk into a building or wherever that server is or network switch. And I mean, he was up until 4 a.m. over this weekend working with them on dispatch calls and things that were happening in consolidated dispatch. So, I mean, the benefit of having both is huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
You guys have brought us light years ahead.
Well,
You remember when we had all our servers in the basement?
at the annex, that was so, yeah, no.
At the old city hall.
Well, Systems
Swimming
MD,
even.
Oh, my God.
their first major project, they came in to replace all of our servers, and those servers actually crashed and died almost 24 hours before we were going to have to go live with the new ones. They got us up and running for a day so they could switch them all out. That was their first major project. Anyway, so with all of those projects completed, IT really has no major projects coming up for the next few years, other than what's going to happen. The biggest challenge IT has with everything is power. So if something crashes, and while we have battery backup surge protectors and everything on all of our equipment, we still get brown power, we still get the flickering light scenario and everything. We lost a network switch over at the Consolidated Dispatch with this ice storm, and so, you know, we're immediately having to replace it. And so that's where our challenges come in. That's where our network equipment will be coming in for the next 3 years. And so one of the goals that we've set, and we'll be working with Andrew so that he's fully aware and can see all these things, is the long-term capital replacement of the servers, so that when we go to replace them, we're going to replace what's at Horton first, then possibly the fire department, and then the one at the PD, so that they're not all hitting in the same fiscal year. And so Systems MD is trying to work out a proposed scenario. These are your possible amounts for these servers in $26, knowing that you're not projected to do it until '29. And so we'll have those ideas coming up soon.
Do we have a plan in place in case this building was to burn down?
Yes. Well, okay, so catastrophic event, if for all of our data, is this your question? Okay. Talking with Lior, who's one of our lead techs with Systems MD, we are probably the best in the state prepared in case of a catastrophic, absolute catastrophe. We have backups between Horton, we have a limited backup capacity here at Village Hall, Fire Department, and Police Department.
And the cloud.
And the cloud. So, I mean, we are the gold star standard almost for the state. And
I
so,
knew that we did, but.
you know, and I can tell you that it scared, you know, while we had cloud backup some for the Little Bear Fire, I mean, we could have lost it all then. Or we could have lost a good chunk and been down for almost a while. But anyway, we did very well. And so anyway, right now we're in great shape. Our biggest problem is power and redundancy. And so those are basically our two concerns that we have, other than the replacement in the future.
What's
is
the connectivity at the airport?
the airport just went live with fiber right after Labor Day.
Really?
Yes.
And we have it out
They
there.
ran a line out there?
Yes, the FAA had a requirement for it, so they had no choice but to
And
do
so
it.
we'll have it across the street too for the
That's
plant. And so we'll be
So
able
that
to,
was a big selling point.
huge. And now then Windstream Kinetic is actually going into the county because, you know, we used ARPA funds and then matched it
Right.
and brought in Windstream with their money.
Right.
Well, now then there's funding statewide that the county took advantage of that came much, much later.
Yeah.
So the
Windstream-
connectivity, we're still not there. I mean, the connectivity, redundancy, we're still not there.
We're still not there. That's the redundancy that we really want to see is the ring around the mountain, which is basically out of our hands, but we need to keep pushing for it because that's between Windstream, Madi, and other partners that are all the way around to Tularosa, Carrizozo, over down towards Capitan, Hondo, Lincoln, all the way down the valley and back up again. And they are working together to try and make it, when we had the Little Bear Fire, what got us up and running so fast was that Godfrey and Jody said, hey, if you've got fiber and you plug in here, I can get you up and running. And that's how we were back up and running. Had we not done the infrastructure project, one for our properties first and then for the village, we would have probably been down for a while. So that was absolutely huge.
Or we go to Starlink and, you know, we have a backup on that because that's one of the signing points that we have with Kinetic.
Yes,
They were guaranteeing us redundancy, either going through the line that goes all the way to Albuquerque and then the other one that goes to, down the highway this way to Tularosa Basin, Inc., and then to El Paso. And, or over to Las Cruces. And, you know, when we get a line cut in Las Cruces, it affects us.
Yes,
We were supposed to be able to automatically flip over is what we were told. So
Right.
I want to find out, you know, I know they're supposed to be working on it. I talked to Gilbert.
yeah.
And,
Every time I hear redundancy.
yeah, you just
it's
shake
not
your
working.
head.
Oh, I know.
Doesn't
So
happen.
the last feature that we have of redundancy with Starlink is we can get Starlink through Kinetic, Windstream, and we have, at every location that we set up, I had them include a port so that we could plug a Starlink into those locations. So we could,
Still using Starlink?
Oh, yeah,
Is it
Yeah.
working well?
I love it.
I love
And
them.
Verizon and AT&T now, you can get cell phone through Starlink.
Really?
I just got a brochure and I'm trying to understand how that's going to work.
So, but yeah, T-Mobile has that and it's, but, so anyway, we're looking at all the options to keep us up and running. Redundancy-wise in the departments, we found that there were times when T-Mobile phones were working and Verizon were not. Now that T-Mobile has better service, we're transitioning some of the departments' phones to T-Mobile so that we have redundancy in departments in case that happens, because it's strange. I still have AT&T calling me all the time, we'll try our phones. I still don't have them where they work as well. T-Mobile has done, I don't know what they've done to make it work better, but it is working better. So we're developing those redundancy
But
channels.
you're not gonna be exclusive with one
No.
provider?
No,
Okay.
because they're all on government contracts and they all have the same government pricing. And so, you know, T-Mobile was great when we first called and sent us stuff immediately that we needed at the EOC.
Yeah.
So we were able to distribute out phones. Managers and directors have phones per policy, but we had a number of hourly employees and different things, or different positions that required cell phones for the duration of the event last summer. And T-Mobile provided us to those at no charge, which is paid for through a fee that's on your cell phone bill that everybody pays every month. So that's the emergency response fee, and it doesn't matter which provider you have, everybody has that on there, so. The last thing we're gonna try to kind of maybe work on is training with IT things, because there's so many things coming in that we have all these software programs and different things. You've heard about MyGov and you've heard about different things in Tyler. And the biggest problem that we've had with any software that we've picked, be it CityWorks 311 or anything else, is the training that comes with it. Tyler has PACE training. And so a lot of times, the people who find the software and want to get this stuff installed, it's like, this is it, and they're the only ones who know it, and they can't provide, they don't have the time to do the training. I know I don't have the time to do the training a lot of times, even though, but I can't be the gatekeeper because then I'm the roadblock. So that doesn't do anyone any good. PACE provides this training through Tyler, which will help us with, learn how to, the great thing is it's like, this is the way you can input a budget into Tyler software, but we learn tips and tricks that, for having worked in this software ever since I've been here, that are brand new, it's like, oh, I could have done this years ago and made my life so much easier. And so that's the nice thing with that. We're hoping to access these things. I also talked to PACE because they have, I'm trying to get into where we can do training with department directors and everyone on how, this is how you pull this report, this is how you pull that report. And they're like, oh, we can do that. We have this PACE training. They have trainers that they can use. I can set up time periods where managers, directors, everyone can get on their tablet, their laptop, wherever they are, and take this training from somebody that says, okay, this is how you go here to this screen, and this screen, and you can work on it here. And it's not reliant upon one person who has to just be a trainer, because we don't, unfortunately, we don't have trainer positions. And so the other big thing is that, you know, AI, everybody talks about it, and it's, in our positions, it never will be a replacement, but it surely can be a powerful tool. And so if we can find the information and not gatekeep it, it's like, how do you use it? How can you use this in your job to access it? And I've already found in finance, different things, it's like, in all of our 365 software, there's Copilot, and I've shown the finance team here, it's like, if you'll click here and you'll ask it a very direct question, you can learn how to create an Excel formula. You can do a mail merge from Outlook and send out 300 emails, you know, within about 2 minutes. And we've used that with these features, but until somebody says, have you thought of this? And start thinking outside the box on things that you weren't trained on in school, because these things have just not come up yet. And so somebody has to find the ways to say, I'm not going to be able to show you everything, but if you ask these right questions, here's people who can show you 4 or 5 different ways how to do it. But be careful what the answers you get back, because they may or may not always be right, and question everything you see.
When is the last time we had Tyler come out?
The last time we had Tyler come out, Judy, was probably 5 or 6 years ago or more, I'm not certain. But I did speak with them and asked them about the potential of Tyler coming out to do some training. And they are going to look at that. Their policies all changed since COVID, and so they are exploring that option. And also asked them about, Ron and Judy went to Tyler and Lubbock and did some training. And they're like, we haven't done that in a while either, and they
Yeah,
might be open
'cause,
to that.
I'm sure we're not utilizing all of the functions and.
Right. And
That
so,
helps.
and you can't get it all, with one person, so you have to spread it around. So. and
Well, thanks for all you do, just
The admin of all of it, it's crazy.
yeah, that's,
So,
appreciate it.
but anyway, that's everything for IT and just keeping it all
Thank you.
moving along. So, in the next,
Bayonne.
Is that it?
there,
Bayonne.
Capital projects.
there.
Thank you all very much.
No, here, we've still got V.
Madison, I'll start calling you Maddie. I was trying, who's Maddie?
Maddie.
Then I put 3 + 2 = 4, I guess. I was like, okay.
I can make that word for you.
All right.
Morning,
Ilka.
everybody.
Good morning.
Hi.
So, just to go over a little recap of last year, Christy and I were fortunate to be promoted into new positions coming out from the purchasing agent and the capital projects coordinator. And so with that, our goals have pretty much remained the same. Now that we have 2 new personnel in each area, of course, we have Caitlin as the new purchasing agent in training, and we also have Vera as the new capital projects coordinator. Vera has already completed her certified procurement officer training, and I believe Caitlin is next.
Caitlin's scheduled the 10th through the 13th.
And then, of course, Christy is overseeing all of her training to make sure the line of succession there is as fluid and as smooth as possible. And I'm still assisting Vera with getting her 100% on board with capital projects as the coordinator in her new position. So with our first goal, consistent cross-training, because those 2 positions do a lot of hand-in-hand type activities, so that will continue. For our second goal, there's also a continuation, additional training for procurement and contracts. Everything's always evolving, so we want to be up to speed, up to date with what's coming down the line, any new procurement procedures, any new laws that are being placed into effect. And now with the continuation of the disasters is the ongoing training to learn everything about FEMA and the FEMA federal requirements.
Oh.
Which,
Oh, boy.
I mean, I wish it was easy and they could just drop it into our brains and we knew everything kind of like the Matrix. But unfortunately, that's not the case. So we're doing our best to continue education.
Let me ask a question about procurement.
Yes.
So when we send out an RFP, there's a committee that reviews the RFP. Is the membership on that committee rotated?
Yes, it's very much a rotating committee, and it's also dependent on specifically, well, not specifically, but to keep it unbiased for what we are trying to attain or achieve through that RFP process. Correct, Christy, or did you have anything else to add?
That's pretty much it.
Okay.
Okay.
And along those lines, if I may,
Yes?
if, there's certain levels of, if we're going out for an RFP for something, let's say new pins, okay? If we're doing that, there may be a company that comes in and goes, we're a pin distributor. Okay, so we get them, but then they have subcontractors under them that's something you may or may not see. Am I making a right statement here? I.e., if somebody says, well, you're always picking this one, and then they're picking these people over here, what's our things for not doing that?
So in our documentation that we send out for their proposals, they have to stipulate if they're going to use a subcontractor.
Okay. And so that's part, does that go into a criteria somewhere? Okay, that's line B, it says, oh, well, they do have a subcontractor. Does that
Yes.
subcontractor?
Yes, that's part
have
of the
all
contract.
The hoo-haws and the stuff to sign up and says they're legal and all that?
Yes.
Okay.
So if we awarded the RFP to this main company, who is now using subcontractors. Our contract and our PO is going to be with the main company. And then that main company will be responsible for paying their subcontractors.
Am I asking the right questions, friends?
Good job.
I guess to add to that, to kind of, because we're talking about a little bit about coverage, so the legal responsibility also falls onto that main contractor to make sure that they fall within the legal responsibilities of that procurement as well.
And if it gets to a point where you say, like I know the reverse side of that is I'm sitting there and I turn in a sole source. Says, hey, this is the only company that makes this and this is what I need to do my job. Okay, got it. But if it's, we're putting out this RFP for whatever, the pins again, and this is the company that does it, that's the only ones that puts it forward, you still evaluate them.
Yes.
And they still have to meet the criteria.
Yes.
And if they do, then so be it. If they don't, then we go, well, got to start over. Okay, thank you. I'm asking that for clarification for the World Wide Web, if they're out there.
For the outside world?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
And then our last goal that we have is to hire a capital project manager. In this position, they'll oversee the purchasing agent, capital project specialist, and the project manager. Ms. Judy, are you online, and did you want to elaborate more on that position?
Yeah, with the issue of us trying to manage 3 different disasters, I think this would be a good position to fill with somebody in order to take over my oversight of the FEMA projects, plus also all the grants. We have a lot of Water Trust Board grants and a lot of legislative appropriations, so somebody's going to have to keep on top of that. And so if we can find somebody that can fill that position, that would be great.
Is that budgeted?
Yes.
Yes.
Good.
Just hadn't been filled.
Yeah, just haven't been filled.
And Mayor Pro Tem Salas and council, as Judy mentioned, we're trying to build more capacity, and I've been working with them a lot too, helping them just with all the grant awards that we have been receiving. There's a lot, because we're using different types of match funds for, even with FEMA, using some of the applying for the state federal match funds, and then SB 31, which is the loan for that we're working with. We moved the money from House Bill 1 to SB 31, and then trying to reconcile that, it takes a lot, and then doing the reimbursement requests and the notice of obligation. So there's a lot of work there that Judy's been doing, that we're going to build other employees here, staff members with that capacity, and I'll be working along with them on that, so.
Judy, when do you think you're gonna have the budget hearings?
So we will start the revenue projections in February, and then usually in late March, early April, we'll meet with our internal staff, Ron, me, and Cheryl, to go through the budgets first, and then towards the end of April, we'll have the budget hearings with council, and then hopefully the budget adoption early May.
Okay, thank you.
We did have one more goal on the back.
Sorry, Christy, I was
That's
trying
okay.
to stop her thunder, I guess.
That's okay. So I had visited with Judy earlier this year or last year about e-procurement. I had one demo, and I do have another one scheduled with OpenGov in March, but also on MyGov, it's another option that we could add with our MyGov program that we already have. So I'll be doing a demo with them also. So if we could go with an e-procurement system, it does not knock out the purchasing agent job. It just means we're going to have it to where it's online. We don't have all the binders and all the paper that we end up putting through the shredders. And then you also, with those programs, you have access to thousands and thousands of other RFPs and ITBs that have already been put out. It's easier access instead of you having to go and search the internet. You've got them all in one place for people that have already done this. So instead of reinventing the wheel over and over and over again, you have access to, oh, hey, let's use this one. And your process is going to be much faster. And so that's a program we're looking at. We're estimating the budget for that will be about $80,000. I don't know if that's going to be a startup if that's a yearly, that's something I haven't gotten far enough into the demos on to find out.
Christie,
So-
is that, that the e-procurement, is that for customers or is that for our employees?
So the way the system works is you feed in your information instead of doing
me
all
as
of
a
the
customer.
paper. So us as the village.
Okay.
We will start the process on e-procurement.
Okay,
Once that procurement advertises, all of the potential bidders can see it online instead of having to do paperwork. Because we ask them, when we put an RFP out, we ask for anywhere from 3 to 5 copies of their RFP. We're making them go buy binders and tabs and
They'll
put
come
all
in
of
with
this.
this big old boxes,
Yes.
the file boxes, and lay it
So
on the desk and
if
go,
we
here it
can get
is.
it on e-procurement, we're saving trees and also saving people's time and the extra money, and then the worry of, if I ship this on this day, is it gonna make it on the deadline?
No,
They will be
that's-
able to submit everything through the e-procurement program.
no, that's,
And then,
I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
Does MyGov interface with Tyler?
Yes, it does. It's not 100% yet.
MyGov is a new product for Tyler, and it's the beginning interfacing, it interfaces with Tyler in our financial part. That's the first step, but it will cross-reference better. And it was a good solution when Christie and I saw it when we went to San Antonio last year for training. And so we had demos. We didn't make the decision. They had demos in the other departments so that they could decide between all of the softwares which would fit their needs as to what they would want to use. And they were the ones who wanted to come back with MyGov. Our biggest problem was the installation thereof, and they were going to try to not start our installation until late April or May, and Levi was like, absolutely not. I can't start a new software and try and learn it and have to go into monsoon season to use it for the work orders and the documentation purposes. And so we were able to talk with Tyler and get the implementation moved up, which has really put a workload on us, but we've gotten it, the
Does-
implementation started.
Robin, does the STR software interface with Tyler?
It does not.
Yeah. Do we still, I remember years ago, we had a lot of rogue applications throughout the village that weren't tying in. Is that still an issue?
We still have that on a limited basis, but it's not that bad.
Okay.
It's manageable.
Does a department, if they're wanting to get software, do they have to go through you guys before it's?
They look at us for their budget, but we can't limit a department on what they need, so.
No, I'm
but-
just concerned that we need someone to police it, to make sure we don't get software that doesn't interconnect.
Mayor Pro Tem Salas, Councilor Corey, I make the final decision on that. We talk about it, and if that software with finance and myself.
You're sensitive to it.
Yeah, oh, yes, because we tend, there's been times where we had some software that was never used. So we're paying a annual maintenance fee on it, and we're not utilizing the software, so we're gonna make sure that we are utilizing it.
Well, that sounds very good, Christie, getting that in there. How would the sealed bids work? I mean, it'd be a confidential file that on the
Yes.
day it opens up, you
Right.
have the password to open them all up?
Yes,
or-
sir. Yeah. Nothing would be able to be accessed until the bid due date and time.
Okay.
that'd be pretty cool.
Right, do you
Yes.
see, envision getting more responses, Doris?
I believe so, because we already have people that, I mean, on one of the last ones that I did, I had a company email me their bid, and in our paperwork, it says, we will not accept electronic bids. And they said, I know your procurement says this, but here's my bid. Well, I can't even accept it because I already told you I can't, you know? So, yes, I believe that if we went electronically, we would have more, because you've got so many people not in New Mexico that want to be in on our procurements, but they don't have the means, I guess.
Okay, I remember years ago, they used to have at least one counselor on each evaluation committee. But then they did away with that. I can't remember exactly what the reason was, but I was on a,
Is that a conflict of interest?
Mayor Pro Tem Salas, Counselor Eby, that came from the attorneys of the New Mexico Municipal League, are the ones that had that, because it has to come to you at the end. We have to bring it to you all to be able to act on that recommendation.
and it's not that I want back on it. It's just that you are. You will
Right.
be getting the big box of binders.
Yes.
And having to go through them all, whereas you carry around a laptop, that's much easier.
So typically, our directors, when they've got a bid or a proposal out, they let me know who they want on their committee. And I do try to direct them if it's somebody that I know they're not going to have the time. I'm going to be like, is there a second that you would have in mind for that one? Because if this one doesn't have the time in their schedule to do it, that means they're not going to really look at the proposal and they're not going to give us a good score. So I really do try to get people on the committees that I know will take the time and effort that it needs.
Are those all internal?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And then, Christie, you were talking about the rules on the bids. Is that a policy or an ordinance?
So that's policy, yes. We use all of the state's templates when it comes to RFPs and ITBs. And then if there's anything that we need differently, then we add it to it. But we do send everything through Zach for confirmation.
Okay, good.
I get just figure out, your total costs.
Yes.
And then,
I was really hoping to have my OpenGov done next month, but the one person they have to give the demos, he's booked out until March. So I believe that one is scheduled for March the 17th. But I have an email that Robin had actually helped me out and got some info from a person at MyGov. And so I have some videos to watch on their program. And then one of the demos that I did have, it was a very minimal, and you could tell it wasn't going to be the greatest. So my personal opinion is if we could go with the MyGov, being we've already got the software going with them and it'll interconnect with Tyler, that's the way I would like to go. But I do want to make sure we get the best program for it.
Yeah.
Good, good. Well, thank you all very much. Great presentations. Thank you, Maddie. And we're going to take a 5-minute break, and we'll come back with the marketing strategy stuff.
That means Eddie will have to wait just a minute. He's gonna have to wait.